Let me know if you guys can hear the sound on that. Feel like you probably can't. But maybe. Alright. We're going to get into doing some Linux here in a second, but we are down to the security topics. Ekshunya asked, what are the signs of bone bruising? I don't have a good answer for that, actually. I don't have a good answer for that. I want to turn my camera on here and test something. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You guys can hear me, you can see me. Okay, good. Back in biz. Yeah, we're going to do some Linux. We're doing the Socratic method, but we're starting down on the security topics. We did pretty much all of the processing stuff. All of these are up in the lab, or up in the Discord for people that want them. We did all the CPU stuff, right? We did all the memory stuff. We've been going through it kind of slow. We did file system stuff, and basically we just asked ourselves questions as we went through. We did some networking topics, and then we looked at some disks, right? So networking disks, and I've just been adding to these as we go. And then we got down into security topics. That's our next little piece, okay? So we're going to get started here in a second, but I wanted to give people time to get on. We'll get myself connected up the way that I need to be. Right, my streaming one, so screen -R73684. And we will reconnect to the screen session that we were in, whatever kind of goodies we were in before. Oh yeah, we were looking at all kinds of stuff in there. I think we were doing some user stuff in there. So, all right. So we'll get back over here. We're in Rocky 5 Dev. We'll make sure that we go back in there, and we'll get ready to start here in about a minute or two. Okay? Interestingly enough, kind of looks like my camera's jerking a little bit down in the OBS, so I might have to tweak my camera a little bit. We'll play with that here a little bit. I haven't turned my camera on yet, but we'll get to that here in a second. All right, so if anybody wants to do security stuff with us, we'll get into doing that here in the next minute or two. All right, I'll be right back. Alright, I give some people some time to show up. People are always asking for more time to show up. Let's see, goes live and then leaves. Yeah, Chris, I did that. I did that because it gives people time to show up. Sometimes I go too fast and then people are just like mad. So, I mean, we got to do something. Got to find some happy medium. I'm Veer Singh. You said, hold on. Let me read this real quick before we continue. You said, I'm about to start your 16-week Linux system course. Is YouTube the main platform, or are there other places for notes and extra materials? Just wanted to get the 100%. Okay, so yeah, let's do that real quick before we start. You come in here, hop on our Discord. Discord's, of course, free. You guys know that. And, damn it. And in our Discord, there's two places you want to look if you want to start the course. You go down to Prolog Projects, and here's all the stuff. Actually, hold on. Let me turn my camera on. My camera... It was kind of being a little shaky, so we'll make sure it works all right here. I switched over to OBS. I'm not on Streamlabs anymore because they were kind of dicking me around and breaking too much. But anyways, here's all the material. Here's the 16-week course, free. Go in there and work on all the stuff you guys want, as much or as little as you want. But if you want to watch the videos and say, hey, this is what the guys were working on, in the beginner start here section, there's a playlist. So there's all my YouTube playlists for all 16 weeks. There's like 2 weeks near the end, one where we didn't have a lab, and I think one where we didn't have a worksheet. But every other thing, there's just 16 weeks worth of work. I want to say it's about 8 hours, maybe almost close to 10 hours for some people worth of work in the Linux space and getting into Linux systems administration. So put that together for you guys. I think a lot of people really enjoyed the course. I think a lot of people found it challenging, which was kind of the goal, right? If it's not going to challenge you, then, why are we doing it? If it's not going to help you to get into doing this stuff professionally, why are we doing any of it, right? All right, so let's do some security topics. First one, what users have logged into the system in the last 24 hours? Can we determine what users have logged into the system in 24 hours? And then, if we can do that, if that's easy for us, do we understand what the implications of that are for the system? Like, why does it matter that we know what the users have been on the system? Why might that matter to us in a PCI environment for audit reasons? Why might that matter for us in a dev environment where something broke and everybody's insisting that they never touched anything? Like, what's going on over there, right? All right, so what users have logged into the system? Do we know how to do that? Anybody know how to do that? This isn't like a quiz. This is for you to think through the Linux terminal. By the way, if you don't have a Linux terminal, if you're like, hey, I'd love to get my hands on a keyboard, but I don't have a Linux terminal, or maybe you're watching on your phone and you don't have some connection, you guys always have Killer Coda. So you guys can always go to Killer Coda, which is a free site right here, and it will give you a login for free, right? You just have to have a login, but they will drop you in a shell. You can go to the playgrounds, you can go to single node Ubuntu right here, and you're in a Linux terminal. Now granted, it's an Ubuntu terminal, so it's a little bit different than like the Werewolf and Rocky Linux that I'm using, but it's a Linux terminal. So when we want to know who's logged into this box, we can do that same last pipe to more, and we can see what users have logged into this server in the last. Now, there's a little trick here. These are always read as the oldest to the newest. So a lot of us don't kind of like that, especially if they're really long. So you might last through TAC. And what TAC does, TAC is a filter that acts as the reverse of reading a file. So cat, TAC, right? It's reverse. And it will show them in normal order. So some of us like that. I do like piping it to more because then it gives us more control to see whatever's at the top. But let's just say you're being really lazy and it's got years worth of data on there. You can go ahead and do last TAC and just see the last ones at the bottom. That's up to you, right? This is one of these things where I'm not going to tell you how to bake your cookies or whatever, but this is like a good one. Hey, Revisualize, how's it going? I need to, I need to shrink these windows down so that I can see the chat. What if we don't want all users to be able to know? Well, Trulu Gomo, we are the root user, right, on our system, so we are always going to be able to know these things. But you bring up an interesting question. What if we were just some user? I think Scott is on this box. Yeah, so who am I now? I'm Scott. I'm just some user, right? sudo-l-u Scott, like, who am I? We don't even have sudo on here. I don't have any permissions, right? I can't sudo, I can't do anything. But can I do a last pipe it through more? My user does see that. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess you could, if you really wanted to, you could probably limit the user from reading the wtemp file if you want. Because all last does, if you man last, it just reads varlog wtemp, right? So if I go ls-l on varlog wtemp, I see that is readable by all users. And there's two ways that I'm kind of familiar with that are common to stop this kind of thing. One, we could take away this right here. Oh, sorry. On ls-l d for varlog right here. We could take away the directory traversal right here. And if we took away the directory traversal right here, so if we went 754, users would no longer be able to go into varlog unless they were in roots, unless they were root or they were the owner group of root, right? If they were in the group of root, they could. Or we could just take this wtemp file right here and take away this read, making it a 6, in this case a 660 instead of a 664. You might say, well, Scott, what's the right answer? And I'd tell you, well, that's like asking me if when you bake cookies, you should add the flour first or the sugar. I can't tell you that. I can just tell you that in your organization, in whatever your company you're at, you're going to have a thing called a security posture. The security posture is going to be dictated by your security policies. Now, if you say, Scott, my company's a mess, we don't have any of those things, well, then I say it falls on you to do this thing. Has anybody here ever seen the Count of Monte Cristo, where Mercedes stands up to give the 16-year-old toast to her son, but then the Count Mondego's not there, so she's like, so it falls on me too, and then the Count of Monte Cristo stands up and says, once again, introduce you to me, and he takes over and he like saves her. He does that because he's a manipulator, but he does that because he's trying to get his revenge. But where I'm going with this is, if you don't see the behavior that you want in your company and you want to get to these better levels of security and these better levels of like doing things professionally, you might have to do it yourself, guys. So, yeah. So let me show you guys this. No. Count of Monte Cristo isn't the singing one. Count of Monte Cristo is he kills a whole bunch of people for messing with him one. The one you're thinking Les Miserables, which is also really good as well. That's the singing one. That's Gerard Butler and I don't know, Werewolf, right? Hey, The Count of Monte Cristo is absolutely fantastic as both a book, and if you say, Scott, I don't want to read the book, go watch the one from like the year 2000 that had Jim Caviezel and Guy Pearce in it. Absolutely fantastic movie, because like it's a story of revenge, but also like redemption. It's really good. It's really well done for what it is. So, all right. So could we do that? Yeah, we had last more. We had last tech. I forgot about this one. We have last log on some systems, and last log will tell us grep-v for never, right? And that'll tell us who's never logged in, so we could at least see that some users have never logged in. That might be kind of useful. Is there any CIS recommendations for var log access? There may be. I use both STIG and CIS benchmarks. So let me show you guys. If we go to just my documents and we go down here to like security stuff. Where's that? I think it's security topics. And then here's my old CIS benchmarks. We have one for Ubuntu 22. Let's open this with we'll use Chrome. My Sumatra, I run my Sumatra backwards, like I invert my Sumatra viewer for PDFs. So you guys don't want to look at that. It'll be way too dark. Let me show it to you. See, that's too dark. I mean, it's too dark. But we could look for in here var log, and I don't think there's any. There's some pseudo log stuff. There's some stuff, be able to track who's looked at wtemp, which is important. But no, I don't think there's anything in here specifically for if anybody can read var log. For sure who can edit it, for sure that. But I don't think there's any rules against who can actually touch it. Let's go look over here. Var log. We need to have its own. So its own partition. Look, there's going to be this fight until the end of time, and the fight looks like this. We need to have everything on its own separate partition, and then that's going to be what one side says, mostly security, and the other side's going to say, no, we don't, because the servers are no longer pets; they're now cattle. We let the servers die and just come back from a stateless node or from a CI/CD pipeline. We just redeploy it. This idea of partitioning things is very early 2000s, if you ask me. Like I don't partition my boxes unless I'm absolutely forced to from security, because there's no the reason we used to do it was to protect against crashes. Nowadays we don't care about those files. In fact, the people that are doing like immutable boxes like NixOS, they kind of got the right idea, because that's where all the big Red Hat's pushing people that way and all that kind of stuff as well. Yeah, they have some config. Yeah, there are some config recommendations, but it's mostly that it's on its own. I don't see any other ones. Yeah, you need to have no dev, no exec, and no suid. We know that. var log audit. Yeah, so that's mostly, that's the extent mostly of what I do is put on its own partition. I have been places and I have worked with people when we're setting servers up where we make the decision that, again, var log, if you do not want other users to traverse into a directory, you take this X off right here. Because execute permissions on a directory is what allows somebody to traverse into the directory. If you take this off, you make this unreadable by users right here. That X right there. That's all you need to do. Yeah, it depends on log until server. So that's another thing I really try to emphasize with my engineers and guys who hang out with me, and as we kind of work through these different things for logging, the biggest thing to us, and this is what I always tell people, you do not want to have to wait for a server to come back up to check its logs. So what does that mean? That means logs have to be thrown in real time. You do not want somebody to be able to delete logs and have you never be able to read them. The logs, as the person accesses your server, as they start to execute their script, as they compromise your server, that thing should be running and sending logs off in real time. And then once it's compromised and they figure out and turn it all off, that's fine. But you still have a record sent off the server as they came in the door, if that kind of makes sense. It's like somebody breaks in, but you at least have them on CCTV. Like, it sucks, it doesn't stop them, but at least you know when it happened. At least you know, like, it took them 5 funny minutes of opening the door before they finally got in, or, you know, whatever kind of, you know. You ever see those videos where, like, the guy throws the rock and it bounces off and hits his buddy and knocks his buddy out, and then he's, like, looking around like, where's my friend? But he's, like, falling off the steps. I've seen some of those. Are pretty funny. All right, anyway, so some services not running as root might need to access varlog. Yeah, Neuron. We could do. There's a couple of things we can do for that. Varlog, strictly speaking, does not need to be owned by the group root. So we could have a group, maybe S account. We just make up a group. It doesn't matter. And that group could be the group owner. And then all your service accounts that are running, because service accounts should run apps. Users and root should not run apps, right? Your service accounts then can write in there. They can traverse in and do stuff in there. But normal user accounts cannot. So we can get around that kind of stuff, Neuron. There's ways to play with all of this. And what I always tell people is, once you figure out and lay down your baseline, automate it. Use Ansible. Make sure that as you deploy your servers, all your stuff is captured. And then you run your Ansible checks against it to make sure. By the way, as we're looking at this, I've been kind of brainstorming over here, so I'm going to go off my Socratic notes for a second. Right, this was what we were kind of doing, was the Socratic stuff. I had started this other thing real quick. I want to show you guys here. For our next group, right? So we've started we finished the 16-week Linux Systems Administration courses down Discord, free, right? Do whatever. The next one we're probably going to do is, I haven't decided if it's going to be 8 to 12 weeks, somewhere in there, but we're going to do securing Linux. And it's going to be, Linux Systems Administration was not focused on just command line, although everything we did was command line. I wasn't worried about discrete tasks. I wasn't worried, like, could you come over here and copy a file from here to there? That kind of stuff I figured you would go pick up and you would go do lab work and you would learn that stuff, right? What the Linux Systems Administration course was about was how you interact with being a Linux systems administrator in the organization. So what I mean by that, here, let me give you guys an example of what I mean by that. Let's go to Prolog presentations. Let's go to Linux sysadmin. Let's just look at like Unit 3. Unit 3 was here was the worksheet for it, right? Let's pull up the worksheet real quick. Right. This is what the worksheet looked like for it. It was focused on, again, we're not necessarily doing this right now, but this is the course. If anybody ever wants to go and do the course, you would have the instructions on how to email me. Now, we changed this because we had like 208 people at one point that wanted to do it. So I set it to where, you just send it to me all at the end. By the way, it ends this Saturday on the 19th. That's the last day that you guys could finish the course, right? And this one was, there were some discussion questions. You had to go on our Discord and discuss this with people. But the first one was, what does the term triage mean to you? Have you ever had to triage something? Simple enough, right? Have you? Yes or no? Super simple. But if you do know what triage means, you could tell us. Or you could go read about it in there's a whole bunch of Google books out there for how site reliability engineering works. and they give you a little bit about triaging, and then they talk about operational security in here, and they talk about how we triage. Like, we have 3 incidents happening. How do we determine which one's the most important? One's over here in a dev cluster on the weekend, and it's taking down some dev database that was running a whole bunch of, patching type work or whatever. And then another one is our 7 of our web servers are down behind a load balancer of 20 web servers, so we still have 13 active. And then another one is like the production database has been compromised because somebody put it out in the DMZ. And those are like 3 things. Your production, your big MySQL database, that's like your flagship database for the whole company, that's down. Which of those 3 things do you think is probably the most important for you to go spend some time on? Think about it, right? This is for you. This is how triage works, and how I tell you guys, it's not about like becoming an expert in 30 different ways of thinking. It's about being really good at 1 or 2 ways of solving problems, so you always drill down to the same right answer every time, right? Because the holidays were on daily triage rotation now instead of normal weekly, very disruptive. Yeah. I get it, last rated digits. Also, I'm a big fan of, if you're the person on call and you do some work, your next week should be making sure that nobody ever gets called out for that again. That's kind of the way that I look at this. Traffic King on YouTube said, is there going to be a version 2.0? Yeah, so I am going to rerun the course. Yeah, I will clean it up. I got little errors here and there. We will rerun the course. We will probably do it in, what is this? This is January, February, March. Probably look for a late March, early April start. I'll blast it out here. I'll blast it out on the Discord. And for people that want to come through and try to get one of those cool little certificates that we give out. But again, the cert's not even that important. The important thing is what you learn, right? The friends you made along the way or whatever. The Linux we learned along the way. That's the important thing. Revisualize said, sometimes struggling with is actually finding a job with several years of Windows and Linux system administration experience. Also complete a whole bunch of Red Hat. Nice. Push to actually memorize nuance of Red Hat config for the EX200. Is that RHCSA? Yeah, 9. Are there Linux sysadmin roles out there even 2025, or is there? I still see Linux sysadmin roles, but I mean, I'm so if anybody here that's around that doesn't know me, I do high performance compute I do it for my company Redline, but then I do it for different government projects on different types of, sometimes colleges, sometimes other things, and I alternate between building new systems and supporting systems that are already there. Most, if not maybe 90% of my work is Ansible, and of that. Of the 100% of my work, probably over 50% of it is securing systems. That's kind of what I do a whole lot of. And I secure them according to STIG baselines and CIS benchmarks and just a bunch of things, right? But to answer your question, I do think people are hiring for this stuff. I mean, I'm always looking because I have a bunch of college students, so I'm always kind of looking for networking gigs and Linux stuff and seeing what's out there. I do see a lot of Linux sysadmin stuff open. I just don't see a lot of what most people would consider entry level. I did a thing a while back, and people really liked it. I would do it again if you guys wanted. But basically, what we were doing for a while there, I did this, I think, in maybe late November. I don't remember exactly when I did this, but hold on. I think it's under meeting notes. Where what we did was I just got a bunch of job stuff that was out there, and we just worked through it. So, this was some job site on DICE, and then we wanted to check the job board for Linux. And then, yeah, people were asking questions. Let's see, network. I think this was a generic one. Hold on. Let's go up here where, I think I have one here. That was from a lab. I don't know if I have them. I'm pretty sure I have them up here somewhere. But I was just dropping notes up here from as we were doing. We always put our notes up here from different chats we have and stuff. But basically what I was doing was I was working through all of the things that they were asking us for, and I was just putting what I thought were good answers for things to go study and look at based on what people were looking for. All these jobs want people that can troubleshoot. They want people that document stuff. And the reason they want to do that, guys, in case you don't know, we're not just doing Linux. We're not just sitting around and doing Linux and we're under our little hood and it's a thunderstorm outside and we're just working on Linux. That's the days of that are gone. We have to be part of the company now. So people want people that can communicate, troubleshoot, document stuff for other people. There's a question for the Discord. I'll give you guys the Discord here and on YouTube. Hold on real quick, YouTube. Let me give you guys... That's the Discord. Discord's always free. We have 30 400 and some change people in there. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. Did I put it somewhere else? I could have sworn I put it there. I hope I didn't put it in presentations. No. Presentations, though, when we have people come that are public speakers, you can talk to these guys, too. They're all the mods. They're people that are in the Discord. We got guys that are working at big cloud providers. My brother works, this is John, my brother. He's also one of my mods. He works as a Kubernetes lead of OpenShift for like a really big insurance company. You can talk to him about that. M-Pesa has given the last 2 talks on Ansible and Kubernetes. He's worked at big startups. He's a Red Hat certified architect. So if any of you guys know what that is, he's the guy that he went and passed the first 2, and then he's like, I'll take 5 more. And he did it in like a year too, on top of a bunch of cloud certs. So you can go talk to him if you want to talk to him about like his stuff. None of these were recorded, but a lot of these ones back here were recorded, and they're up on the YouTube. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, Raleigh, a lot of people are. So here's the thing, right? When I was the platform lead at AAA for a long time, like platform lead of Linux, and then I was the platform lead of all of Linux and Windows. So I had about 9 different engineers at any given time that were under me, but I was the tech lead. I wasn't the manager. We had a separate manager, and I did all the interviewing. I did all the stuff like that for everybody. And what I really liked, and me and my old manager Dan Vigil, we had put this all together. We like to bring people up from the junior leagues or the minor leagues, if you will, right? So what I mean by that is like we'd be working and we had a NOC team and we had like a help desk during the day, and then we also had like a tech support team during the day, which was kind of like the NOC daytime. And we used these people the people that were working and trying to learn this stuff, they were the ones that I would test and try to get to come up and do Linux, right? These were the people who we actually hired 2 really good ones in a batch. One of them was M-Pesa, and he had been working just like the tech desk. He was way above where he should. He should have been working for us as an engineer already. But we brought him in, and then he like smoked everything and did really well and moved up and automated a lot of the build process and all that stuff. And it was good. It was good stuff, right? This one here, by the way, this eBPF one, if you like eBPF, he's got that talk on the YouTube channel. So if you go to our YouTube, and then I think you actually go to, we don't have very many stuff, like in my YouTube stuff, there's not very many persistent videos. Most of the stuff I do is just live. But anyways, his stuff's really good. All right. So anyways, that was I don't know what got me over on that. But Unit 3, another discussion post was go to Google or find a blog or ask an AI about high availability, and then do a little write-up about what HA means. What does it mean to have a highly available system? And how are you going to use that, right? All of these things were, how are you going to use those as a systems administrator? Because, again, most of you guys, if you're going to sit and listen to me for more than a minute, you probably do Linux, right? You're probably at least a hobbyist. My goal with the Linux Systems Administration course was to get you guys at least into the network operations, the security operations, the junior admin roles, so that we could roll up and be Linux engineers, right? This is where we want to get right here, guys. This is where are we at here? I have some drawings in here, right? Linux Systems Administration. This is where we want to get to over here. This is from getting in Linux field, but this is what we want. Most of us are going to start over here as sysadmins. This is the PPDIO deployment methodology. This is how Cisco deploys things, right? But sysadmins start over here. You operate stuff and you optimize stuff. You keep the lights on. You run the NOC. You run the SOC. You run the help desk. But I always tell you guys, are you doing that and then late at night, like kicking up your feet and reading comics? Hey, I've worked a NOC shift. I know what it's like. You have time to study. You have time to work on your college stuff. It sucks working third shift, guys. I've worked third shift. I used to run the NOC for GoDaddy. Like that was the thing I did in the early 2000s. But are you trying to optimize and do things better? Because I'm telling you, a lot of the guys that are doing this want to lean on people that are working in, like, there's so much value to somebody who's been 2 years of keeping the lights on and stuff and understands the facility to bring them over into engineering. They understand why certain things might not work, and they can tell different things about the system because they've been working there. Then there's a bunch of definitions I made you go find. What's the mean time to detect, mean time to resolve, mean time between failures? What do those mean as engineers? Because, again, this is Linux Systems Admin course, but we want to be an engineer, don't we? I mean, that's eventually the goal. Things like SC Linux exposure would definitely... Yeah, I have some SC Linux. I think in the second week we did SC Linux. This was week 3 here. Then there was a lab assignment. There was a project we were going to do. There was some dig deeper stuff. Yeah, this Excalidraw here. Hold on. Where's my Excalidraw? This one... I'll make you guys a deal. I don't think this one is available up there, but I'll do this. Watch this real quick. You guys ever seen this? So if you guys have never seen this, I'll show you guys something fun. So let's go pull up our CIS benchmark here. Yeah, we're pretty much done with that, but we'll go to Excalidraw real quick. Anybody here ever played with Excalidraw? This was us in one of the weeks. We were doing all this stuff. And I put this is up in the Discord. I'm gonna delete this real quick. I'm gonna reset the canvas. Yep, clear it. Watch this. I'm going to say open. I'm going to open a file that I have on my system, which is that Linux Systems Administration, right? So where's he at? Linux. They're not in order. Hold on. Put them in order. Linux Systems Administration. So I'm going to... Oh gosh. Sorry, guys. Background. Let's go here. I normally... apparently I have it in... Alright, screw it. I thought I had it in... Whatever. You guys might have to switch the theme on it so that it looks normal to you. But have any of you guys seen what I'm about to do here? Does anybody here know what I'm about to do with Excalidraw? I'll show you guys something fun here if you've never seen it. If you're like, Scott, I want all of that. This was just like this was something I was working on. I'm going to share it, and I'm going to start a live collab session. I'm going to copy the link. This is because somebody asked over in YouTube... M4600, and I'm going to drop that link in there, and I'm going to drop the link over in Twitch. Now, Twitch breaks it on the comma. I don't think YouTube does. You guys can all, by the way, you can take it and copy it, or you can take it and just like edit it or mess with it right there. Striped Goat is in there. You guys can add pictures to it, but the point is you can come up here and you can copy your own. You're not going to ruin mine. Do whatever you guys want to this page. I don't care. But yeah, there you go. So, like troubleshooting, how do we troubleshoot? These were questions that people asked about getting these skills and getting a sysadmin role, and what does that look like? And what I was telling you guys when we were doing this was we were taking those jobs on dice. I'm gonna move this out of the way because scary stuff starts popping up there. So let me get that out of the way real quick. And but the point is, you guys can copy that if you want. Before anybody messes it up, you can just grab a copy. So you do have to, on the Twitch side, you have to copy it out and put it in your browser yourself, because Twitch blocks all this stuff. And I don't know who's calling me from... Alright. So, let me show you guys something here real quick. I showed you that. Alright, here, let me just pull up. Let me grab this. Where do I have it? Hold on. I gotta go find it. These were us grabbing things the other day. I always have notes. Nope. College stuff. College stuff. Quantitative analytics stuff. Hold on. I think, oh, here was our shot. So this one is up in the Discord somewhere. But we were walking through, and this was actual job board requirements that we had grabbed off the internet, right? And all I did was I said, okay, somebody wants you to be able to install, configure, and maintain Linux operating systems and software applications. And I said, okay, how could we learn how to do that? Well, we have to probably have a lab to build that kind of stuff. But there are things that we could know about a system that would help us do the install. Does that kind of make sense? Like, it's kind of like so I was an infantry guy, right? And there's ways to practice combat before you get in. I was a combat infantryman, if anybody cares. I was in Iraq. But before you get to combat, there's ways to train and play combat, right? Because, well, if you play combat for real with your buddies, everybody's going to be dead. Right? So you have to play it in pieces. Where I'm going with that is not to be morbid. What I'm saying is we can play the install of a system. We can understand certain things. So we can understand how to install things. We can understand how to update things. So we need to update or install things on a system. We should know our apt, our DNF, our yum, right? So I can say DNF install cowsay as some tool, and it will try to install that. if it needs to, but I should know what that's doing. I should know that the DNF tool is going to check my... actually, we just do RPM QA, right? And it'll check what's there. And you say, how do you know, Scott, that it's checking what's there? Well, I'm going to tell you, I know that because if it didn't do that, it couldn't help you with what dependencies are there. And I know because it'll break if you have like 32-bit dependencies. But CalState is not a good example because it's there. Ansible, maybe? I think Ansible's there. What about, I think Ansible linter is not there. So let's see if we can get Ansible linter on our system. DNF, what provides Ansible linter? Because Ansible linter is a tool. Isn't it Ansible lint? Might just be Ansible. I haven't used that tool in a long time. Yeah, there's Ansible lint. Okay, so I need to put Python 3 Ansible lint on there to get Ansible lint to be able to check my Ansible code for me, right? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Rally. I haven't used it in a while, so. This visualization page that you reference looks horrible. Oh, well. I look at it in dark mode, so maybe that's helpful. All right, so anyways. Build process, early decision, stateful fat, stateless thin. Like, do you understand what those build things are? And what does this mean? But then what's an ISO? Do you know how to connect an ISO to a system? That's a concept that most people need to understand. Do you know what a netboot or an iPixie is of a working image? And do you know how to do that if I give you the tools to do that? Or could you read the man pages and figure out how to boot in an environment that's set to do that? And this is the thing. Visualize. Said, why did I link that? It's junk. I don't know. So revisualize. I don't know if you put the 3 asterisks there or if you... Yeah, I can't see whatever you linked. Okay. But what I wanted to show you guys then is, let's say you're like, all right, well, I don't have an environment to build, but I need to understand the build process better. Then I would say go to like killer code. This is what I linked, guys. That's what I linked right there. So if that doesn't work for you, well, I guess just don't use it. I don't know. That's the best advice I can give you. All right, let me show you guys this. Get this out of the way. Get this out of the way. And I'm going to show you guys something here. Do sysat? No, so Bobby, it's more of an engineering thing for sure. It's more of something that as you move over into like the build side of things, but it's possible that you might have to troubleshoot things, so it's good to know some of this stuff. No, revisualize. Try changing from light mode to dark mode. You have, yeah, sorry. This I should emphasize this. It looks, yeah, you might have to come up here on yours and change from light to dark mode, because I leave my stuff in dark mode, so sometimes when I send people stuff, it's bright. And then I tell you to just switch the theme. For me, though, since I must have done this one in dark mode, you have to flip it back to light mode to see it, so... Yeah, sorry about that. Hold on, let me show you guys this though. Let's say you have to build. Let's say you have to build something. Let's go to Killer Code. I put together a lab that might help you guys a little bit. Yeah, you can change the color to white or dark M4600. Some of you guys might have noticed too. I'm using the VS Code for that. And VS Code, this is my copy, so this is my copy that doesn't change when everybody else does. And in VS Code, there's a plugin you can use if you want to do some of this stuff. But yeah, we had a talk a long back about like Linux skills that you need, things that I think you need to know, general knowledge that I think you need to know that's like kind of Linux adjacent. These are all things that I think are valuable. But real quick, back to this. I'm going to show you guys something here. In my labs, under Linux labs, I have one that's about building systems. Hold on. It's right here. So I'm going to link this to you. Oh, it says that I'm building too many stuff. I don't think I have one open anywhere else. Oh, I do have one open over here. Sorry. So that's what happens if you open too many. But now I just have the one. So here's the server startup practice. And I'm going to link this to you guys so you have it. If anybody wants to do it with me, we'll do it real quick. We'll do this build process real quick. And hold on, let me link this to you guys. Again, Killer Code is free. I literally don't get anything from Killer Coda, right? I use it and I think it's a great tool. And here's what this one says. This says you are a new systems administrator at a company. You've been tasked with the process of building out new servers. So there's new servers coming down the pike. Maybe they are, maybe they're like Red Hat or Rocky 9.3, and your company's mostly on Red Hat 8, and you want to see what's there and see how it's working. Doesn't mean that you're going to bring everything over. Every server running MySQL could probably stop. We don't need MySQL everywhere. We don't need MariaDB open everywhere on 3306. We don't need that stuff. And maybe there's some stuff that's not happening on old servers, like firewall being on, a host firewall being on, that maybe we want to turn on. But the point is, we are doing a set of tasks as a systems administrator to see what's there, right? Does that kind of make sense to you guys? You would like to gather information about current systems, see how they started up, see what's currently running on them. You find yourself at a command prompt. You're a new engineer or a new admin, and you're just on a system. And you want to find out how it works. So I say, what kernel version and startup parameters were used to start the system? What hardware does your system currently run on? Processor, NIC, virtualization. And use the solution if you do not know the correct answers. So this is a thing right here, right? Requirements doc would be my... Yeah, but Raleigh, we all know nobody's going to give you a requirements doc. They're just going to say, let the new guy go sit on it for a couple weeks. Look, if they send you out on a couple of weeks project like this and you come back with a really good doc, you write the requirements doc, they're probably going to be like, this dude's okay. We hired this guy as a sysadmin. He's doing engineering stuff pretty well. So here's some of the things that I posit that I would want to know about the live systems. I would want to know, and by the way, you can click down here if you're doing the lab, or you can type it. I would want to know what type of system we're on. In this case, I'm on an Ubuntu 20.04.5 long-term support. That's what LTS means. And I can see information about what's kind of going on here. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm missing follows. Ruben, Gomez, Hello World. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you guys. Looks like we got stuff, I don't know, some kind of cheering going on YouTube. That's cool. I need to get my sound alerts up. And Zorgol, hopefully this stuff's useful to you. And then another one, we want to know what kernel we're on. Like, there's so many reasons to know these things right here. And some of you guys that have been around a while, you're like, God, Scott's talking about these two again. These two are so critical. If I was going to put in a trouble ticket because I couldn't get some HBA card, we ordered new HBA cards to replace maybe our Mellanox. We're going from like an EDR to an HDR, which are enhanced data rate, to like I think it's like a high data rate InfiniBand, and I'm dropping all these cards in my systems. I know that they're supposed to work because NVIDIA and Dell have them matrixed on their website as good. I've done all this work, right? All this engineering stuff has happened. But then I go drop them in and they don't work. And I go, sit here like this, like there's a knife in my heart. I'm like, oh, this sucks so bad. So what do I do? Well, I do all the things I can do. I read the docs. I go read if there's forums or if there's any kind of release notes, right? Make sure that I'm not missing any compatibility stuff, because it's possible I did, right? It's possible I'm on an older kernel. The other reason you need to know these things are because security is going to come around all the time. Your GRC team, governance, risk, compliance, they're always going to be hovering to find things to get you on. They're not really trying to get you, but here's the thing. They care only about security. We care about uptime, right? I care about uptime, and one of the three components of uptime is availability, which is part of, they care about all security. We care about the availability and the uptime of the system, right? Which obviously does feed into the other things. But my point is, they may ask you, hey, are you guys on 5.4.0-131? A 10 CVSS score just came out for that kernel today. And you're like, oh, there goes my weekend. This is a long weekend coming up, right? Nope. You can be patching all effing weekend, taking servers down, rolling through your process and all that stuff. Then you say, yeah, you send it to them before finalizing the bill. Yeah, and Raleigh, here's the thing. If it's long enough, they're just going to rubber stamp it anyways. So really what I like to do, I build two types of checklists. I build my functional checklists that functionally build all the things that I need in the company. And then I build my non-functional checklists, which are, does the system run at the level as often as I expect it to. So I've talked to you guys about functional and non-functional. Functional is it a Rocky 9.3 server? Well, if it's supposed to be a Rocky 9.3 server, and it is a Rocky 9.3 server, I go like this and I check that box. It's a Rocky 9 server. It'd be like if I was selling you a truck and you go outside and you look at it and you go, that's a car. That's not a truck. And I'm like, oh, so it is. Well, it doesn't check that functional box, therefore you don't want it, right? I mean, that seems super simple, but that's also true in the server world, right? What's another functional requirement? Let's just say there's three major types of server. Maybe there, and the companies are going to have subversions of this. Let's say like subclasses, but you're going to have your web servers, you're going to have your app servers, and you're going to have your database servers. Let's just say those are your three big ones. And if it's a web server, in that functional column, it's probably going to have Apache on it, or HTTPD, right? That's the fork of Apache for Red Hat systems. Probably going to have that on it. If it doesn't have that, we can't check that box because it's not doing that. Unless we're going to add some specialized software other places, but I would still want to know that if I was doing the build stuff, because I would build that into my Ansible, right? Which would be my playbook later. Wait, we had a question. New guy here. Can I ask you about Ubuntu desktop version patch? You can. I don't ever really professionally work with Ubuntu. We just have it on in the lab because this is a free lab that you guys can use. But you can ask me anything you want about it. I'll try to help. I mean, I know how to patch those. I know how to patch Ubuntu. Now here, how did the server start? This is very important. Cat proc command line. This server started just like the other servers. Now, as an admin, it may be very super useful for me to know. Let's see, we're just on a one box deployment, so we don't have the other one. But let me show you, let me go to my environment, my home environment. Whoops. Let's go here. And let's go here. Rocky 6. Now I go here and I say cat etc, proc cmd line. And then I come over here. I do that and I switch between them and I go, is it reasonable to me between the two of these, albeit with some changes on the UUIDs and other things, but do I think that these servers were probably started in a similar fashion? If you guys can't tell, I'm flipping between them. I'm just pressing Control AA and screen, and I'm jumping between the two. So Rocky 5, Rocky 6. Rocky 5, Rocky 6. They are built and provisioned essentially the same way. There could be some differences in between them, and I would have to go over to my Rocky system to see what those differences are. Right, maybe this, and say, all right, there's that node, and then there's that node, and I can see, are they generally the same? Do they have the same runtime and system overlays, or are they different because I built some of these differences into them, right? And at this point, by the way, I'm using specialized tooling. You wouldn't need to know this in all environments. You do want to know how to use your tooling, whatever that tooling is, and then you want to be able to build. So anyways, back over here. You're just some Linux sysadmin. You just started, and they're asking you to go build some servers out, but they didn't tell you anything about those servers, and you're going and gathering information. So some things that I would want to know is what type of server am I on? What's the kernel? How did it boot? Did it boot like its friends? Did it boot differently? I'm going to know a lot of things if I go run through a cluster of nodes of if they were built with the same process. And when I build them, right? Anybody here ever seen, oh gosh, what was that movie? I want to say it was The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. No, hold on. Was it Ballad of Buster Scruggs? What was the one when John Hangman... No, that was The Hateful Eight, wasn't it? Somebody help me out here. Was it Hateful Eight? That said, but when John Hangman catches you, you hang. Does anybody remember that? Well, it's the same kind of way. When I build my servers all look the same. And that's a very important thing if you want to be an engineer. If you want to be kind of well known for... Yeah, I thought I loved the first like 15 minutes of Buster Scruggs. The rest of it had some interesting stuff. I tell people I learned how to pan for gold watching Buster Scruggs because that dude literally shows you how to pan for gold, right? All right. I'm getting far afield. But how did this node boot and what's going on with it? I can do a D message and pipe it through head. By the way, if you guys do these labs with me, they're over here on the left, all the answers. But D message gives you a bunch of information that hopefully you can read through and go, there's the kernel command line. That's how the system was booted. Now I know some information about how it started. And I can start to go look through. I can see, am I on a virtualized system? Yeah, I'm on a KVM system. Well, that's important. hopefully, look, hopefully if you're a sysadmin, they're telling you whether or not you're on virtualized or physical systems. But how you build physical and virtual systems differs, guys. It differs, right? By the way, this time right here is relative to the start of the kernel, right? So this is how long did it take the kernel to do certain things. We're going to dig in on that in a second. We're going to go look and say, well, what about DMID code? That'll tell us also if we're on a virtualized machine. So we're virtualized using KubeVirt inside of a rel box. Actually, watch this. I can add to this and say rel. And I see that I'm on a rel 8.6 box under the hood, and then I'm virtualized on Ubuntu on top of that. And I can figure out all this stuff because of what a virtualized machine knows about the guest. It's the guest, the host environment that it's on, right? So I can go find out all this stuff. And I said, what other interesting things might you find in DMID code? Oh, you can find product. Oh, we already have product. But typically with product, where I've worked before in different places, we'll have the VMware. So it'll say VMware if it's any type of virtualized machine on an ESXi cluster. And then it'll tell me it's a Cisco. If it's like a physical Cisco blade, it'll tell me it's Dell. If it's like a Dell piece of hardware. Let's see what this gives me in my home lab here. Because I know the environment in my home lab, right? But what does my home lab look like? Oh, where did my home lab go? Here. This is the home lab. By the way, people that do the Linux Systems Administration course, this home lab environment is available for you guys down in our Discord. You guys can actually get in. You guys can bust these Rocky boxes up. I don't care. They're werewolf boxes, and they just reboot and come back up. So I do see that I'm on a hardware virtualization manager, Domu. I think also, what might I call that? That should show me. You can also, by the way, guys, you can always just run a command and go look at stuff. Just sometimes grep is nice for filtering down if we know what something kind of should look like, right? Okay. So, all right. Where was I at? But anyways, we were over here building stuff, right? Building, looking at how things are being built. Let me pull this back up here. This one's for you guys. All right. Here's great for establishing a base. Some folks will go on to support the OS. Many in bigger environments will end up supporting application platforms. Guys, sometimes I tell you that's good, Raleigh. I agree. Sometimes what I'm showing you here may be useful just in the context of, hey, these two servers were built at the same time. I know it because I pushed the button to build them and I saw them both fall down the chute. This one works fine for my devs. This one does not. So, does anybody here remember? Who here remembers Sesame Street? I know Sesame Street's still around. When I was a kid, Sesame Street used to do this thing called one of these things is not like the others. One of these things just isn't the same, right? Well, it might sound silly, but engineering is a lot of comparison. They say comparison is the thief of joy. Not in systems world. I want to know why the F you're different than him. But I have to enumerate those differences. Does that kind of make sense, right? Like I have to figure out through my own look, I'm already going mad. It's like one of those, like, what is it, Mob Psycho, what is the Mob one with 100? When he hits 100, he just flashes and kills everything. That's kind of like this, right? Like I'm losing my mind slowly, but I want to find what's different between my systems. So I'm showing you on one system, but it's tremendously useful to just go between two systems and go, well, this one's virtual and that one's physical, so why am I comparing these two? I mean, they're not even built through the same pipeline system. And then you go and you find it, look, because we're asking why multiple times as an engineering function. I go, well, I'm the guy who wrote that Ansible, and I only updated it in that part of like my my code repository, and that's where Tower pulls it in that CI/CD pipeline. I didn't put it over on the physical side. God damn it. Because there's, like, a lot of us, we don't build as many physical machines anymore for a company. And a lot of times that's a whole lot of work because somebody's got to be bringing in. And when we're talking to the facilities guys, or maybe we're a smaller company, so we are the facility guys and we're going and doing that work. So we're like, I'll fix that when I get around to it. But somebody built the machine and I didn't update that block of code, which is similar to another block of code. And look, in the systems world, guys, we're not as disciplined as these dudes in the software world that'll write a function once and then reference it as a library forever. We don't do that. Well, not as well anyways, so there'll be mistakes. Yeah. So Raleigh, that's actually one of the criticisms of asking why the why 5 times thing is sometimes people will say, well, but sometimes it's further along. Yeah, it's true. And sometimes you find it even before. So it depends, right? But that is the method is called asking why 5 times, right? So, okay, so we did that. And I said, now let's look at the running processes. What's running on the system? Because maybe we need to find all the agents. There's an Avamar backup agent, or there's a Bacula agent. And those are responsible in our company for backing stuff up. There is a CrowdStrike agent. CrowdStrike agent is responsible for crashing your Windows boxes, right? That's what it does in your company. No, I'm just kidding. But it is kind of funny that people let them update their shit whenever they want. I think that's wild. You probably have some kind of Tenable agent, which is Tenable is typically like the Nessus scanner to scan your stuff, or sometimes you have Qualys. Qualys is a security scanner, and they're testing for software that is run afoul of like a CVSS score, right? So when you have a CVE against your SSH daemon, right? Instead of going to all your servers and doing this, right? I mean, we could be efficient. We could go like this and say, well, I could do Ansible. Where is it at? Hold on. And I can say right here, just give me, whoops. Tell me all the SSH that's going on in my environment, and let me know if any of them are, OpenSSH 7.1 or 8.7 P1-38, because that's got a vulnerability on it, right? Also, something like this would be really quick to just see if there's anything. Let's see if I have pdish. I don't have pdish. Let me see if we have pdish available here. Hateful 8, manual, you're right. Yep. Hopefully you guys aren't that far behind. I want to install pdish real quick. And then I want to see if xdish back is on there, because I'll show you guys another thing real quick. Let's see if we can find what provides this. I would have thought it was just dishback. Oh, well, apparently it's just dishback. Oh, I already have it. Okay, good. So let me vi etc genders. Did it put down a... Huh. So normally you just use an etc genders file, but I don't see... So it's a gender. It's called the genders file typically, but oh gosh, Raleigh, that CrowdStrike thing screwed so many people up, and I'm amazed that people still allow people to update their stuff in real time like that. Like, you're not going to use my production environment as a test environment. That's absolutely asinine. They took my understanding is over 1 billion machines went down from that. I don't know how they still exist as a company, but I don't know. Maybe the wheels of justice turn slow. I don't know. So let's go back over here real quick. I want to keep showing you guys this. We'll get into some of that stuff. I'm going far afield, but now we're going to go look at the system processes. So we can see everything that the kernel did from when it first started, and I can hit enter to go line by line, and I can hit spacebar to go page by page. And what's happened, what happens in a system, right? A system boots up, and the motherboard or whatever thing is being powered on as you hit that power button, it does what's called a post, a power on self-test. This is, systems engineering, computer engineering 101, right? Like there's a power on self-test where it just goes out and checks that all the memory buses are responding, and it makes sure that there's no devices that are in a slot that aren't responding. It makes sure that it's got the right power levels coming from its checks its power, does all these things, right? Power on self-test. And then your motherboard or whatever that system is tends to walk all of its bootable devices in whatever order it's told by the BIOS to find something with a master boot record on it. When it finds something with a master boot record, it will start to execute the code on there, and then that will be like the Grand Unified Bootloader, or it'll be Lilo, which I forget what Lilo stands for right away, or it'll be whatever the thing is, I think it's like GPT or something, whatever it is that starts Windows, right, something. And whatever it finds there, it starts to boot it, right? Well, once the kernel gets handed off, so the Grand Unified Bootloader is going to come up, it's going to start an init RAM FS, and it's going to start a basic kernel, whatever kernel it has set to start. It's going to call that kernel command line right here as it starts that kernel. Right here. And as Grub does that, it's kind of like handing off to the kernel the system. The kernel is going to then walk the system bus itself, and that's what you see here. This is called walking the system bus, right? Like it's going through, it's checking everything, it's checking its memory, and if it finds any errors, the errors will show up here, right? So by and large, we don't ever have to check this. But if I'm mucking around with putting a new, like I was talking about earlier, an HBA adapter in a machine, you better believe, especially since I probably have to turn it off to do that work, you better believe that I'm looking for errors here, right? What if I get errors on one system but not the other 9 I put it in? Well, probably didn't jam it down in there all the way, or I probably didn't plug it into its power, so now it's an unresponsive line on the PCI bus, right? And we're going to get to all the different pieces of the bus here, but the point is we can get errors. We can get things that aren't showing up correctly, and we can use them. We can compare them with the buddies, right? Again, I said comparison is the thief of joy, but it's not a thief here because we want to compare these systems to see what's working, right? Lilo. Yeah, Lilo is an old one. Linux loader. That's exactly right, Flask. I think that's right. Yeah, Linux loader. Yeah, that sounds right. Lilo. Yeah, Lilo back before Grub, and now Grub 2 everywhere. And anyway, so this is the system starting. It's like I always tell you guys. If I threw you the keys to my truck and said go buy everybody ice cream, and my truck started, I wouldn't expect you to get out and kick the tires and open the hood and look and make sure the engine is engineing. I wouldn't expect you to do that because it's working. Well, it's the same thing with this, but we're trying to figure out how the system booted. We're trying to figure out what's there. So we might go find out what's going on with Ethernet. And I might see that ETH0 is my Ethernet, and I might say, well, that jives, IPBR adder. Yeah, that jives because I see this ENP1S0, and I see that it's renamed from ETH0. So if I see ETH0 referenced somewhere in the system, I now have a mapping and I understand what's going on there. But what the heck's this virtio.net? Well, that's the module that's plugged into the kernel to run that correctly. So I can go check the modules that are in the kernel to make sure that that's still an active module. And it's being used by this net failover. Those are the only two places it's referenced. You can ls mod and see all the modules that are part of the kernel. But there you go. This is one example of just using your tools in a way. I tell you guys all the time, and some of you probably think I'm kidding, but the guys that have been in this know. I tell you, you do not want to be figuring out how to use your tools in the middle of the battle. When you get called out in the middle of the night and you're like this, oh man, and you got to call out and you get to your desk and you log in and you do all your stuff and you get dropped into this bridge call, and immediately it's like two execs and they're like, what do we know? What about this and this? And you're like, I don't even know what system I'm going to yet, right? Like I don't, and you're like getting a text from the bridge, or you're getting like a Teams message or Slack from the bridge guy telling you like, hey, this is what we're seeing, this and this, and you're trying to absorb this as fast as you can, but you're waking up and stuff. That is not the time to be figuring out like how grep works. And again, I'm not trying to I tried to tell you guys, like I was mentioning this earlier. I think I even asked it yesterday. I'm not I'm not trying to shame anybody when I say how much Linux have you done today, like down in our Discord. I'm just saying like it should be a number greater than 0 if you're trying to get in the field. If you're trying to do this stuff professionally, it's got to be a number bigger than 0. Like if you told me, Scott, I really want to be a writer, and I'm like, well, how much did you write today? And you're like, or if you're like, Scott, I really want to be a power lifter, and I'm like, are you lifting any? You're like, oh, not right now. And I'm like, I don't think you really want to do that then. But if you've been doing it for a while and you're, again, I'm not telling you how dedicated you have to be to it. I'm just saying there's like some work that's involved with knowing these tools and how they work. And you've got to spend that time now up front, because when you're in the interview, that's definitely not the time to be trying to figure it out, right? But anyway, so what other important kernel modules might there be? Well, I could just go look. What modules are there? I might say real quick, can you count them for me? Yeah, there's about 76 of them. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but there's approximately 76. Maybe there's a header at the top, so 75. And maybe if I knew what some of these things, maybe I just want to look at them a little bit and compare them against another server, right? That would be pretty good to know, like, between the two servers, are they both 76? Or is one 76 and one's 80, and the one with 76 is also the one that's got the driver all busted, and the one with 80 isn't, and I could do a real quick check between the two. I can even diff them and take them back to a jump box and figure out with a diff which one's got what different. But it might just be really easy to see because, honestly, when you get used to looking at these, you kind of know what's in your server. Kind of like you just get used to looking at your servers over time, especially as an admin, crawling around. Called out script. Raleigh said, one place I worked regularly had a bridge with 20 plus people on them if there's a P1 or P2. Yeah. Direct AVP is almost somebody trying to actually fix things. Yeah, it's I actually really like when managers run cover for you and keep you down, just like, hey, I'll run the reports up every 30 minutes or I'll run the whatever up. You just handle this. And if you guys ever do, there's like formalized troubleshooting processes. One that's really good to go study is Kepner-Trego. Kepner-Trego it's very formalized about this, but like if somebody comes in and starts like trying to run a meeting outside of the process, the incident manager will kick them from the meeting. Like and VPs won't like that, but it's like, hey man, that's not what this meeting's for. So a lot of times they'll have their other meetings and the managers will have to jump and then come back and that kind of stuff, which is better. Yeah, local. I tell you, I tell people you just got to spend time in Linux. You got to be able to move around in this like you're just, in the words of the old song, you got to play the guitar like you were ringing a bell. You got to play the system like you were ringing a bell. You just got to go do it, right? So now let's watch. It says, how long did it take the system to come up? So I'm going to show you guys some really cool commands. Every time I show these to people, they're like, I didn't even know about those. I didn't know about them either until I found them, right? Systemd analyze. So many good things in here, but let's look at time. This is how long this system came to come up to user space. It took 12.5 seconds for graphical target. Well, graphical target took 10.023 seconds to come up in this system. So, what happened in my system? So let's say, like, what took the most time? And sometimes when we're trying to get things down, we're trying to figure out what the long pole in the tent is. Systemd analyze blame is great. I love it. It's one of my favorite commands. Just the name of it's great. And this will tell us now look, this is not in the order of it coming up, and these can be parallelized. And you say, how do you know that these are happening in parallel? Well, let's go look at something real quick. The total time was 10.03 seconds, right? Well, if this was serial and snapd happened first, and then snapd seeded happened second, you're already over 10.023 seconds. But then you also got containerd, networkd. So these have to be running in somewhat parallelized thing. But there's no hierarchy to these. And you say, well, what do you mean by hierarchy, Scott? Well, that's the next question. Let's see if we could find right down here. This is one of my favorite ones. So let's go to I'm jumping a few, but systemd analyze critical chain for SSH. This is from the start of the system all the way up to SSH service, all the different services that had to be up. This is the critical chain for for SSH to run on your system. So you come to a server. Your HTTPD daemon is down. Your SSH daemon is down. Your something is down. Your something else is down. After you just know that you gave it a clean reboot, you can come in here and see where it broke. You can see why the thing failed. This will tell you, right? There's other ways. We can check the status of the service because maybe something broke before the service ever came up, so we just see that the service is busted. Here it's active, it's running. We see its main PID is 643. That's the process ID, right? We can say SS-NTULP grep for SSH, and we can see that process ID for SSHD is running 643 and 643, and it is listening to all IPv4 addresses on port 22 and all IPv6 addresses on port 22. That's what it's doing. That's what we see here. That's what this tells us. And I tell you guys all the time, when I'm doing systems fixing, when I'm not doing my engineering, but I'm getting called out, which doesn't happen so much anymore because I've mostly been on builds the last few months, but one of the things that'll happen is I will test assumptions quickly. Somebody will be talking to me, somebody will be telling me the behavior of the thing, I'll be like, what system is it? I'll go to the system, and I'll just start checking through the normal things that I want to know. Is the system on the network? Is it seeing its InfiniBand connections? Is it, okay, I see an Etsy host that it should be this. Is that what I'm seeing? And I'm just validating to myself. Nobody told me what was wrong yet, or maybe they're still, telling me what's wrong, or I'm waiting. I'm watching Slack just go, and I'm watching somebody's thing spin in Slack because they're typing to me. But I'm over here just checking things because I know what things look like when they're wrong. But the reason I know that is because I understand what they look like when they're right, and I will compare them to servers that are right in different environments. Right? These are the things we do. Can we check to see maybe it's just not turned on because it's not enabled? If this enabled right here is disabled, your system will not start this when it reboots. And you might say, well, what about here? Over here it says vendor preset is enabled. Yeah, it could be vendor preset to enabled, but if you disabled it here, it will not come up on the next reboot of that system. That's an important thing to know. Important thing to know when you're building servers too. You're like, why don't these services start? Well, because you didn't enable them, right? We see the running thing, right? We can see that it is running here, right? This is like the rubber meets the road. The system is listening. We see that it should be running, but we can also go cat the file that was used. So I tell people all the time, systemctl can look in like 100 places for startup scripts. And if you want to know how this one started this ssh.service, there it is right there. It's libsystemd system ssh.service. And some of you guys know what I'm about to tell you, but these are the ones you don't go mucking around with. And does anybody know why you don't go mucking around with these ones? Well, I mean, you can. You can edit them in here. Systemctl edit, and it'll persist. But if you go and if I go manually vi this file right now, right? Whoops. If I go manually vi this file, it will get blown away if we update that service. If we do an apt install and there's something new that happens, it's going to go. Oh, mod info about the modules? Yeah, absolutely. I probably should have added that. All right. So anyways, there's a bunch of different things in here that you guys can... Oops. Let's get out of there. Let's not change anything in there. Don't muck around with that, guys. You can. I mean, you just blow away the lab. But we can go see what's enabled. We can go see about how many there are. We can let the system count them up for us, 325. We can go look at which ones are enabled, disabled, enabled at runtime, generic, indirect, masked, or static. And that is across this right here. It's all here. This is them all added up for you. We can go look at individual packages. So security is going to come to you and they're going to ask you questions about libssh and say, hey, do you guys have any of the 8.2 P1 for Ubuntu 0.5? We need to get them off the systems by the end of the month. And you're like, that's only 15 days. And they're like, well, get to planning, because the security posture we have, our audit says it has to be off by the end of the month. And you're like, you're like that. What's that meme? I don't have any of my memes set up on here, so I need that meme of Ben Affleck outside smoking the cigarette, just looking like I hate my life, right? Raleigh, yeah, you will still get questions about things that are related to Log4j. I think I told you guys this. This is me being super Chad. No, I'm not trying to be Chad. I'm just telling you guys the truth. I actually won 2 monetary awards at my company when Log4j happened. One was because I deployed. Well, one was from like a director level, and one was from a VP level. Not VP, a C level. So the reason I bring that up is because, yeah, I did. Raleigh, I worked a lot during that because I told you guys I was the platform lead for AAA for all of their Linux and Windows stuff. So about 5,000 servers we had to make sure. Now, we didn't get hit, but our external web application firewalls were getting hit immediately with that. We never got popped on any of it, but that thing was 100%. I don't know if any of you guys spent time. I know Raleigh did. That thing was 100% compromisable if it was exposed externally. That log4j. So I don't know if any of you guys. My company back then heavily used Java, and if your JVM was responding, it was automatically sending logs out to log4j. If people could get your system to send down certain log executable files, so they could send logs into your system, they could go back and execute on your remote systems, and it was not good. It was really bad. But we ended up. Hey, Colcus, how's it going? Sending up to a bunch of stuff, even if Knox was. Yeah, and then it got popped. It didn't just get popped once; it got popped 6 times in a row. All the patches and everything that happened for Log4j got popped like 6. It was because it first happened, I think, like December 11th of 2021. December 11th or December 13th. So it was early in December. And I remember I was working on all that stuff until mid-January because it just kept getting popped again, and we had to repatch, and we had to keep. I was running. So one of the things I did was my buddy has since left Qualys, but my buddy Brian Canaday was over there. Same guy who gave me the little half rack of servers I have behind me. Well, he gave me the half rack. I had the servers, and that we run all the Prolog stuff on. But he was their director of like engineering for the Americas, and me and him were on a call, and we had some of our other guys on, and he gave me the script that his guys had written to go check all the jar files, right? Because Qualys couldn't get the plugin out fast enough, so we had our own check that would then go. So it was basically like a little Qualys script that would run, and then it would drop the answer in a location, and then the Qualys scraper would come and it would scrape whether that system was vulnerable or not. So it was a way for us to track all of our things. Here's the thing: it had a flaw. It assumed in this script that you had unzip and zip on your Linux box, and if you didn't have it, it didn't do anything because it had to unzip the jar files. It was actually the command unzip. It had to unzip the zipped jar files that had been packaged and sent everywhere. And if you didn't have it, all it did was come out with, "You're good, bro." And I found that, and I pushed that back up to their repo. And I don't know if that was one of the awards that management gave me, but I fixed that for them across all of Qualys customers. And then yeah, it was bad because it was what it was if you guys ever look at a truth chart, it was a false positive. It would tell you, "You're good, bro." Like, one of my favorite commercials ever. This is one of my favorite commercials of all time. Have you guys ever seen the Mayhem commercial where he's like hanging on the back of the woman's car like this, and it says, "Mayhem is your blind spot," and the woman looks like this and checks her mirrors, and he goes, "You're good." And then she goes and like just cuts off this truck and starts spinning on this bridge, and Mayhem's just hanging off the back of the truck laughing. That's what I felt like it was doing. It was lying to you about a false positive. So, or am I saying that wrong? Now you guys got me confused. I got myself confused. No, it's false. Yeah, it's false positive because it's false positive that it's not busted. Yeah. I was trying to think, like, is it a false negative? It is technically. Raul. I think it is a false negative. That's exactly what it is because it's telling you a negative about a thing that does exist. Yeah, that's right. It's false negative. Anyways, fix that for him. All right. So anyways, so we can go look at what's going on in our SSH. We can see that the keys are correctly set for private keys are never shown to anybody. That's why they're 600. Public keys can be thrown to the wind. They're 644. They are shared when people try to connect to your server. All these things, right? Okay, so let's go. I think I have one more little part of this. What ports are open? So you can go look at all the ports that are open on your box. Your system will even count them for you if you want. Here's all the UDP and all the TCP. And there's some implications for how UDP connects and TCP connects. The short side of it is UDP is never connected. It is always just listening. And the reason is because UDP is just shotgunned over. UDP does not have to be in order. It does not have to be sequenced. It does not have to be acknowledged. TCP, however, has to have a SYNAC There's a SYN, a SYN-ACK, and an ACK, which is called the three-way handshake that's set. Once that happens, the connection's established. We have however many flow bits we're allowed to send for our sequence packets, and then we get an acknowledgement back, and then we send the next group of at that point it's segments across the network, right? But anyways, the point is we can go look at the system real quickly, and we could say, well, this is what the system's currently on. So maybe I know that this is running some DHCP in our environment. We go, well, in the new system that we stand up, we're probably going to want DHCP. Or possibly, if you're building your system in such a way, which we do, by the way, that it doesn't use DHCP, maybe we turn off DH client and just allow it to do whatever configuration stuff comes from our process, right? Our CI/CD pipeline, which is our continuous integration, continuous deployment pipeline, right? Which, by the way, we use those for servers. You 100% should use those for servers. But if your system, it's an unknown. Does anybody remember? So, does anybody remember where an unknown came from? Well, where it got popular in culture, early 2000s. It was said by a general, defense secretary, Donald Rumsfeld. Yep. And then, but hold on. But do you know who kind of made it popular again? What cartoon? Does anybody remember? Where Ed Wuncler the third is yelling, "It's an unknown. You can't know." And Ed Wuncler and his buddy are voiced by Charlie Murphy and Samuel L. Jackson. Who knows what show I'm talking about? Somebody here is going to be like, I can't believe Scott watched that effing show. One of my favorite shows. If anybody knows what that is. I love that show. All right. So, can we go look at how our system started? How did Resolve start? Oh, look, so I was looking at, what is 53 doing? It's process ID 914, and it is using a local resolver for DNS, right? And maybe we turn it off. The show is called Boondocks, the Boondocks, not Boondock Saints in that case. It's Boondocks. And the Boondocks was a show that was highly racially charged in the early 2000s, and it was absolutely hilarious. I think it got canceled in the third season, maybe. But, I love the Boondocks. I love that show. Huey and Riley. All right. We get over here and it says, look at you learning Linux. You've looked up system startup. You've looked at the system daemon for how processes are configured. You've looked at running software in open ports. What I would tell you is you have to then use those tools from this lab to go investigate your stuff more. But that would help you inform how you would build what's there in a system. Now, this will help you decide what you need to move forward with on server builds, what process do you need to keep running, and so what software you want to allow is still to be determined, but you now have the tools to see what's currently happening in your environment. It sometimes happens that as we move to a new version of a kernel, or we move to a new version of an OS, which brings a new kernel with it, that vendors don't support those certain things yet. So sometimes you have to stay back. I've had to do this before. Like I've told you guys, I would build these big matrices of, okay, here's the version of Red Hat I'm on. Here's the kernel version that I'm on. Here is the InfiniBand driver, which is called OFED, right? It's the Mellanox OFED driver that I've compiled for this version of the kernel. I have to recompile that if I'm going to move that kernel forward. And I would have these matrices, and it's kind of like, have you guys ever seen somebody like carry a big birthday cake in, and it's like 10 or a wedding cake, it's like 10 layers, and the two people are going like this, and then if any one of those little things goes like that, the whole cake comes down? That's how your matrices of systems are going to be. So you're going to find all these things, and then what I do from there, by the way, I do this all, it's almost like I'm getting all of my ingredients ready. I make sure that I have a test box that has all the things I want. So it's the kernel version of whatever OS I'm running. It's the OFED driver. It's my GPFS, Global Parallel File System from IBM. And then it's like my version of Slurm, right? And what I'll do is I'll move a box forward and make sure that all that works. Okay, boom, I built it. Built it once manually. Then I step back and I write everything in Ansible. And I do a one-button push. So I build a server, and I push my Ansible, and my Ansible goes and deploys all the things, and it connects, and it runs, and it's happy, and I'm good. and then I back off again. And I will then build the server through a pipeline and make the pipeline call my Ansible, or make the server call the Ansible on the first boot. That's super easy too. And then that will run through the process, and I'll have a working server. And I'll say, okay, good. And then I'll back up again, and I'll do it like 30 more times because I'm neurotic. And I want to make sure that my system pipeline is good, because the next thing that's going to happen is when I have some maintenance or downtime, I'm probably going to move the rest of my test cluster over there. And then I'm going to have 30 machines on it. 30 machines are going to be stable and running and good. But if any part of that breaks, I want it to break early on. I've had things happen where I'll do all that and it'll be good. And then I deploy it on a test server, right? And then I go to deploy it on like a different generation. So we'll have generational servers that'll be added in like a cluster. And I'll go to my next set of generational servers to build. And what'll happen is it'll break because they've got a different like NIC. I go, okay. Now that I'll build. So I'll step back. I'll build those by hand. Make sure it works. I'll add in and I'll run my Ansible with the fix that I think will work. Right. I might build that thing 10 times in a row, but I want to do it quick. I want to fail, in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Right, as I'm building the server. And then I'll move my Ansible fix back to the general one, and I'll make a decision between those two, environments based on whatever I know. And then now I'll go redeploy both of them, and I'll make sure that my Ansible works for the first use case and the second use case. And then I'll just keep walking through that. Yeah, Xshunya, that's going to be coming on our. So probably in the next. Where's my little thing at here? These were our stream job skills. Let me move this over here because we were doing this. But probably the next one I'm going to do... Where the hell is this? Hold on. This is probably the next set of, courses I'm going to run, which will be, securing Linux. And, I guess I could put that into my build standards. Yeah, I guess that would be part of my build stuff, Xshunya. Making sure that it goes through. The hard thing about doing build scenarios... labs it's already hard enough to get everybody in the same version of Linux. Like if I said, all right, guys, anybody that wants to stick around, and we're going to do 1 hour of just me doing Linux up here, and you guys do it with me. The only reason I can do that with you guys is because we have Killer Coda, and every one of you right now could be in Killer Coda if you wanted to, and then you could say go, and we would go, right? The hard thing though, so that's much easier than it used to be. It used to be really hard. Everybody would do different versions of Linux. But Xshunya, the problem with giving people a full build environment is now you have to have the hardware, and that it's hard for me to do. I guess the closest way we could do it would be if we wanted to have, and this would be opt-in only, and this would be on Discord, would be you'd have to go use your own little, you guys would have to use your own little AWS environment, and you just have to get your own keys. Now, we could build servers all day in AWS and not cost any of you any money. I don't know if you guys know that. Super easy to build them. But the build process will look a little different, but we could deploy, we do it with Terraform, we could do it, there's a whole bunch of different ways to do it. But at the end of the day, it's an iterative process of failing quickly and getting past that next part to just run through the deploy again. I need to get some hands-on XP with that. Yeah, Colchis, if you need AWS experience, we definitely have some guys that do a lot of AWS natively. We have probably about 5 AWS engineers in our chat at least. So if you have questions about it, for sure ask. But I'm a big fan of a lot of that stuff. I used to deploy. That's what I used to do for all my deployments on stream here. Before we had Killer Coda, I used to deploy the servers and then drop them in the sandbox, and then you guys could just go grab the servers out of there. Some of you guys remember that. Some of you guys were around for that. Sindley, do you have a tech talk to present to the kernel community for the first solution to parse i7 kernel SKB? I feel all current LB using net filter and complex logic and user space is very basic to tackle modern C2. Nice. Yes, Inbleed. I don't know when the talk is, but if you want to let us know, I don't know if you're in our Discord still, but if you want to drop it in there in like conferences channel, I know a lot of people would. I'd try to attend if I could, because I'm a big fan of any kind of cool things that help improve stuff. I don't do, like, guys, I told you, like, I've compiled kernels and stuff in lab environments. I've never professionally compiled my own kernel, and do you know why? Well, let me back up a second. I have compiled modules for kernels and then made sure they were in the kernel. But here's the thing. If you're compiling your own kernel in the enterprise space, it's no longer supported. As soon as you compile it yourself, Oracle's going to tell you to kick rocks, IBM's going to tell you to kick rocks, Red Hat's going to tell you to kick rocks. So where I'm going with that is SynBleed is probably doing that for the conference and for maybe a thing. Or maybe if your organization does testing of kernel stuff, maybe you have an R&D department, that's when you're going to do that stuff often. But for most of us, like if you're supporting enterprise Linux, you probably will not do a lot of that, just so you guys know, right? I hope that doesn't like shatter anybody's hopes of like, oh, I just want to be a kernel hacker. You can do that stuff right now. You could close down the stream. You can go get on their mailing lists and start working on stuff right now. You can go branch off and pull out of GitHub whatever you want. Now, is it going to get? It's going to get a clone, and then you can branch whatever you want. But you could, doesn't mean they're going to take your pull request. No, you probably have to spend some time with it, guys. Right? It says these proposals I work on behalf from Intel for kernel. Yeah. So SynBleed, you're doing much more development of the kernel as like an R&D thing, which is awesome. That's actually really cool. How to use LSOF to see the process file and delete it. So LSOF, if you have a process like a PID, you can also look at it like this. So you can say LSOF-P914. And I can go look at all the process is doing. But instead of deleting those, I could just kill the process. If I know the process ID, I can just kill it. So I've shown you guys that before. Also, like I could do something like this: apt-y install Apache 2. Let's say I just install Apache 2 on this box, right? And we're down to 9 minutes on these servers. So if you're in the server with me, you only got 9 minutes left before it's gonna fail, unless you started it later than me. Yeah. Actually, I'll think about trying to get a lab where, because we can rebuild and watch stuff in the home lab here. I can show you guys like rebuilds and pixie boots and stuff, but I can't. Oh, by the way, guys, look, I have. Do you guys all see that red here? See how all these nodes are down? It's because I've got a Llama box running. He's actually doing surprisingly well on his performance. I have it all set up where questions that come in on stream are going to run through that, but I didn't really finish this one last little part of it. But I will get that up for probably the next stream. So probably tomorrow I'll have it ready. What is today, anyways? Today's Wednesday. Oh man, I don't even know what day it is. Yeah, I actually had the stuff all talking to itself before my system rebooted, but I don't like some of these packages and symbolic links. It looks malicious to me. Symbolic links in the kernel can allow you to do a lot of complex security. Yeah, SynBleed. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, it's one of these things. By the way, guys, I tell you guys this. This is like SynBleed is doing cool stuff, but everything is work. And he would tell you, like, even if you're doing cool stuff, it's still work. Like I do stuff I bet most people think is pretty cool. Like I build high performance compute, and I get to work with this tool right now that comes from. Actually, I thought they were owned by Dell, but they're not. A company called Weka, and I've shown you guys before. They build this ultra fast, highly parallelized file system that runs on each node with like Docker containers, and then it locks 4 of your processors. We're using 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 0 tends to be system 1. So like because you have to exclude those in Splunk, because Splunk's your scheduler. It needs to know which processors for the kernel that it can't use, right? And it's 0 through 4 on these systems. Anyways, but then they stand up their own containers and they just like shoot data across at really, it's really high speed. And you're using HDR links, so you got 2 HDR links that are 200 gigabit per second each, and you're just getting massive speed. Although, let me think. Yeah, those links with the Mellanox connectors are running what's called, what the hell is it? It's a 4-letter acronym. 4-letter acronym that bypasses, it bypasses the kernel net filters, so it just goes right to the system memory, and it's considered a security vulnerability in some places. Let's see, Simply said I like FPM on Ruby for Debian packages built. Should ask options, I believe, to add links. Nice. Yeah, I haven't used Ruby in 15 years. I know Ruby's still kicking, guys, but and I tell people all the time, don't think you might not support something. I got a message the other day, and I think I posted this in the Discord, but I might not have. But I got a post the other day from a recruiter saying, "Hey, will you come work on this company, Caris Life Sciences?" I worked for Caris 11 years ago. They were awesome. Caris. Caris Life Sciences is awesome. They're looking for a high-performance compute engineer right now, by the way. Well, actually, they called it a DevOps, but it's probably going to be running their HPC. And they're moving up to the cloud, and they do cancer research. Awesome company. I loved it. It was really good. I met some good friends over there. But 11 years ago, so now this recruiter hit me up and said, "Hey, we need somebody to do this." And I said, "That's really interesting, but no, I'm not looking right now, you know." And she had a decent price point for what we do in engineering, but it wasn't. I wouldn't leave for that. But also, where was I going with that? I was going somewhere with that. Oh, had something to do. I forget what I was talking about with that. But anyways, I sometimes you're going to do things that are different. So over there, I was using a whole bunch of IBM and GPFS. In fact, that's the only place in all my life I've ever seen inodes. And 2 times I saw inodes fill on those disk drives, and I've never seen that before in my career. This is one of the reasons I show you guys to check for inode count when you think a system's not full. Anyways, all right. So that one's done. That's good. Let me pull up my home environment here. I don't even know what I was doing there. Rocky 5. We were looking at job examples. Yeah. So it sounded like people wanted to do this, so I was jumping into this stuff, which was just like these jobs, you know. And then, you know, the next thing from this actual job board requirement was they want you to be able to monitor system performance and troubleshoot issues related to server hardware, operating systems, and software. So, yeah, it's much less common now, Raleigh. Yeah. Much less common. By the way, I'm actually kind of warm sitting here in my office today. I'm not normally too warm when I'm sitting around. So, guys, I need to do... It's been an hour and a half, so I'm going to take a quick break. Let me go to here. I think that faded me out. That's kind of cool. Let me pull up my hourglass. Let's check on Ranger Cam. How's Ranger doing? Also, what kind of fun stuff's going on in here? Everything probably got deleted. Let's go check on Ranger Cam. I haven't checked on him in a while. Everybody here know who Ranger is? Oh, gotta log in. Whoops, hold on. Yeah, I don't know how to get into this. What was this one? Well, that's super weird. I have apparently forgotten my... Unless I'm just doing them backwards. Which would be funny. Hold on. That's super funny. I thought I'm positive that's not GeoSadmin. That's admin. Oh, there we go. There's my Nagios in my lab, and then there's my Ranger cam. Ranger's downstairs. Looks like it's kind of dark down there for him. Yeah, we love Ranger. He's a good dog. He's old, man. He's getting real old, guys. Let's say take a break and a walk. Keep an eye on Ranger. Yeah, so if anybody wants to come and hang out with me, I'll be back in, I don't know, 8 minutes or so. Go grab me a drink. Feel free to stretch your legs. All that good stuff. Now Ranger has light. Ranger has light. Ranger's just a dog. James Lynch said, I remember when Splunk started, they actually called for feedback. I mentioned that seems slow. I had 30 gigs of logs. Yeah. All right. Give me a second. We're still on break. Still on break. All right. On break. 4 more minutes. Ranger's down there chilling. You guys might have even saw me walking around down there for a little bit. X-Shunya, you know, I actually have a talk that I did. It's on the YouTube. But I did a talk on HPC intro topics because some people had wanted to know. I updated it in 2024, so it's still pretty current, although I could update it again. Move this down here. Still got 3 minutes of break, but for people that wanted the HPC talk, this is the rundown of the HPC talk right here. while I'm snacking. This is my overview. I need to update a lot of this because there's more. I need to add in werewolf, which we heavily use in the home lab. Oh, Sindbleed, I missed your message. AF packets and AFXDP socket. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, Sindbleed, I remember at Lockheed, I had a physical version of the TCP IP tuning book. There's a red book from IBM. And by the way, guys, most of you, if you ever need red books, IBM has left them out there published forever. And there's a really good one that shows you guys basic TCP IP stuff. Like if you're like, hey, I'm never going to go to college, but I want to run through some organized networking stuff. Can somebody help me? Do you guys want me to show that to you? Because I think it's really good. Like if you're not going to be formally involved, that's fine. But you still need to know it. I think that's a really good. I think it's a really good book for that. I'll pull that up if you guys want to see it. But otherwise, I was saying for Sindbleed, I was talking about. I remember going through that and looking at all the tuning parameters that I could do for TCP. And the very first warning of the book, like the very first thing it says is don't do any of this unless you really need it. Because you probably don't need this. TCP IP is tuned fine for most of you, 99.5% of the time. The ones of you that need it are probably doing, and this was early 2000s when I was reading this, you're probably doing very specialized cluster stuff to need this. And it was true, we did, and we were. But it's still kind of interesting. All right. One more little bite of my candy bar. I'll turn my camera back on. I'm going to sit here and chew on this stuff. All right. Yeah, Z-Love, I'm just hanging out too. Not working too hard. Just figured I'd hop in. I got asked a little bit about HPC. Anyway, so, Ekshunya, this stuff is all, I have this all covered here. But if anybody wants that red book, hold on. This is my talk on all this stuff. What did I leave one empty? Oh, I need to talk about SPAC. SPAC. All right, give me a second here. Red book. Some of you guys probably... This one? Yeah, this one's fine. But if, let's say you just said, hey, Scott, I'm never going to spend all that time like in a college class. And I say, okay, can you read 70 pages of a book? Because I think that this is a really good, it even says it's archived, it's older. It's from 2006. Well, I'm going to tell you, TCP IP was released somewhere between 78 and 81, depending on who you want to ask. But it is how TCP architecture works, how networks talk, and what routing is compared to switching and those kind of things, which, again, if you're not going to spend time, in a classroom learning it, they've got a really good kind of basic foundation of what that looks like for you. So I think there's some value there, because I remember somebody asked me the other day, they were like, how much networking do you need to know for sysadmin work, systems engineering? I said, well, every one of your systems is going to be on a network, so you're going to at least need to know how to get it on there and how to troubleshoot that, because you will always be on at least one network. The only time that I guess you wouldn't be on a network would be as you're building it and you're coming in through like a console or something. Like you guys see me do this sometimes if we're building a new system, but this sucks. I can't copy out of this. I'm basically looking at like a terminal screen here. This sucks. I can't copy it. I can't control V to paste into it. I can't do anything with this. This is a console of a server. It's just basically blank. I can type in there, but I can't do any control functions. I can't do anything that would make that faster, if that kind of makes sense. So once I get on the network, then I go in through SSH, and then I'm like, oh, with SSH I can, with whatever your tool of choice is. I use Putty. There was some talk recently of some other cool tools that some of you guys like. I'm not gonna. I heard this term the other day. One of our guys said it, actually. One of our security guys, Dave. He said, "I'm not gonna yuck anybody's yum," and I kind of like that idea. It's like, okay, you like doing it your way. I'm not telling you it's wrong. That's not for me. Like that's not. I'm not gonna go spend a bunch of time setting up a terminal when I have to jump into all these different systems. I'll just use Putty. But I'm not gonna tell somebody else they're wrong because their workflow is their workflow around that, right? Gizmo. So some time ago, I talked about a better alternative to XCPNG called Firecracker, and idea if there's a GUI for that. So, there is Firecracker. I don't think there's a GUI for Firecracker. It's all command line, I'm pretty sure. But I haven't really used much Firecracker. I just know about it from it's open source and AWS uses as their backend because they moved away from Zen a while ago. So it's funny. A lot of their disks up there are still XVD disks. So ZLove, I have not checked out Tailscale. I'm sorry. I've been working on. I've been heavily working on security for a project. In fact, I'm kind of shamming out right now. I should be working on that security stuff right now. You might say, "Oh, isn't it almost like 7 o'clock there?" Yeah, I should probably still be in there doing some stuff. So, yeah, I bet I would, man. Hold on, I gotta add. Gosh, my note-taking system. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Actually, that's probably. Because I might be moving some of our stuff up to back up into AWS. I got all that. We can get into our AWS later. Ranger's up and about. Ranger's moving around. Who knows what Ranger's up to? Yeah, James Lynch. Did I ever tell you about the time I actually rebooted a server like that? Thankfully, it was a non-prod server, but it was for the Supreme Court. Yeah, U.S. Supreme Court, not a state Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court, but it was one of their non-prod servers, so it wasn't as big a deal. But I was grabbing lists, so I was doing something like this. What was I doing? Let's say I was doing something like this, and then I was going like awk def : print $1. They needed to see all the users like this for the system, and I think what I was doing was I was copying them like this and pasting them into another window, and if you look at all these, root's not a command, bin's not a command, daemon's not a command, that's not a command, that's not a command. This is a command, but you need a -H now or an R or something, so this will break. Not a command, not a command. That's not really a command. Not a command, not a command, not a command. But, where's he at? Is he on there? Hold on, where's he at? Oh, this guy definitely executed. Where's he at? We don't have it on Rocky. Rocky's removed reboot. He's not there either. He's not on CentOS 7 either. But in Red Hat, reboot was a thing. Used to be a user. It was called reboot. And reboot took the box down. User named reboot. As I pasted it into the putty window instead of the window I meant to. Which was funny because I was pasting it into a white notepad, so there was no excuse. It's like not like this at least. So, yeah. Yeah, you guys gotta learn the basics of awk. You don't have to be an expert in awk. I mean, I tell people learn as much as you can to do the job that you need to, and then the alpaca, maybe it was this. You might have to put that in Discord and then just let me know, alpaca, and then I can open it because it comes through as just three what's it called for? Three asterisks. All right. So if we're back on this, by the way, we could keep doing these if you guys wanted, right? So it says monitor system performance, or we could go back to doing like the security stuff that we were doing. I'm ambivalent to whatever. I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever. I don't even know. I don't even know where I was. But how do you monitor system performance troubles? I would hope that they would have good monitoring in place, right? So kind of like a company should hopefully have monitoring, and they shouldn't expect a brand new admin to set up their monitoring. But maybe we go and we start looking at our monitoring in the home lab, and we say, are we capable of tracking any of these things and knowing? So can we say that CPU and memory, and by the way, there's different levels at which each of us are going to want to look at this, right? So this is a 7-day view of all the CPU and all the memory usage in my environment in the way that I care about them. And I can see CPU getting high, but that's when I'm running a antivirus scan. And then I can see my memory getting to about 50%. So my servers are not under too much load as far as that goes. And from a management perspective, that may be what a normal workflow looks like. Maybe they want to look at it for a month. But we as admins, we might be looking at a discrete error that started happening in the server right around here at about 4:15 and continued until about 8 a.m. So in the early morning hours, something stopped working the way that we expected it to in the company. And now I'm digging in and I'm doing troubleshooting analysis of a system, right? And if you wanted to see kind of the different way that data is looked at, let me show you guys this. So back in our Prolog admin stuff, this is all up in the Discord, by the way. I want to say it was week 15 where we were talking about, let me see if it was this one. Nope, it was 14. All these are up in the Discord if you guys want them. But I want to show you guys something. That was Ansible. That was at 13? Huh? I know it was near the end. Should probably name these better. Hardening. How do we harden? Shit, maybe it was 12. If it's 12, I officially don't know. Yeah, it's right here. So, real quick, make this bigger. These are all up there. All these are recorded. But this is like the way that we look at data analytics. And it's mostly, this is what I was trying to get to, was there's descriptive analytics that deal with what happened in the past. Then there's diagnostic analytics that deal with why did it happen in the past. And when we're looking as like sysadmins and engineers for stuff that's broken, we're probably looking at this. Diagnostic analysis. Something started throwing 500 errors instead of 200 errors. And if you look at me and go, I've heard of 500 and 200s, I don't know what those are though. Those are HTTP code. Those are web codes for responses, and you will have to know those in your career because APIs are everywhere. I don't care if you're a software engineer or you're a systems engineer or you're a SRE or you're a DevOps guy. You're going to be interacting with things, and then you're going to go, why didn't that work? Why did that API give me back the wrong thing, right? You're going to be over here. This is mine. So let's look at the Swappy API real quick. Is that going to work? Hold on. People item. So I have to pass in. Oh, item's going to count. Yeah, let's see. This is the Star Wars API, right? If you've never heard of this. Swappy.dev API people item. It's going to count 1 through 5, and it's going to loop over, and it's going to give me their eye colors. Oh, God. Give me their eye colors, and it's going to give me an output to a template file. Because we're going to debug the variable as it comes out. But if this errors, yeah, so it's going to go through all of them, and then it's going to debug. But if it errored, it would give me a something other than a 200. You say, where's the 200? There it is right there, status 200. Status 200. We could break it, right? We break it and get something else. Watch. VI Swappy connect. And let's just say, I don't know, count. I was going to get silly. I'm gonna comment some things real quick. Hold on. And I'm going to comment this. And I'm going to YYP. And I'm going to uncomment it. And I'm going to change this item to an item that I know doesn't exist, which is 999. There's only like 1 through 187, I think, or something like that. Now let's run it. Now I'm trying to call a bullshit thing out of that API. Guess what that API is going to give me? Probably a 400 error because the client is making a mistake. Not, I'm going to get a client error because the client was doing something wrong, right? Now, if I try to go to the system and the server can't do something, what's that going to give me? Does anybody know what error that will be? What's it going to be if the server can't give me something? I messed up, that's 400. I get something okay, that's 200. I hit something that redirects me, that's 300. But what is it when the server messes up? What is it when the server is exhausted on resources? By the way, that goes back to that non-functional testing I was talking about earlier. Right? Does anybody know? 500, right? And if you don't know where to reference them, there's some really good, yeah, the alpaca, it's a 500 error code. And if you guys don't know that or you need to know that, you will run into this stuff in your career. So you come over here. Web error codes, list of your HTTP status codes, 100, 200, 300, 400, and there's a whole bunch of them. And what's the really popular one? 419, 417, 418, there it is. I'm a teapot. This will never work because I was a teapot. Yeah, there it is, alpaca. I was on you. But there's all these server errors that could happen. And you can get, here's the thing, you could be trying to connect to something and you could be getting a server error, something coming back from your load balancer. So now you might need a traffic monitor or TCP running on that system to make sure that the connection's coming all the way. There's all kinds of things that we can do. But I tell you guys, as engineers, we have to understand the basics. And then we can start to walk up into more complex things. But I tell you guys right now, everything I do is basic. I'm a basic engineer. But I've been a basic engineer long enough that people think I'm good at all these other things. But really, I just know how these things work at a simple level, right? And that's been enough. Security. So over here, by the way, back over here. CPU memory. I have CPU and memory here. I can look at it at different levels. I can be diagnostic about it, which is in directly when something happened. I could be back out at the whole of like we were originally looking at 7 days. And I could say for capacity planning, right, as a manager, is this, I'm not a manager, guys. I don't want to be a manager. They've been trying to make me a manager for 20 years and I've just been running, right? Well, not actually running, but they might want what had happened. And they might want to use that to predict what will happen in the future. If we see inodes filling up on our GPFS, we can do something before we get to the end. And I told you guys I've seen inodes fill up twice, but I've seen inodes try to fill up like 5 times. But we had cacti monitoring with RRD tool, and we were tracking everything, so we knew when they were coming. I put in a change. I gave some of my file system space over to inode space, and then it just kept chugging along, and then we had more space. But we can look at this. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Hey, Robodom. You guys are my regulars. Colchis is here. Everybody's here. We're not working too hard today. We're just kind of looking at systems, and I don't know. I'm kind of going far afield, but it's because this is what we're kind of doing. Yeah, teaching is better than managing. Fair enough. But I do have to do a bunch of security stuff coming up here. I got a whole bunch of security shit I got to work on. All right. Disk. We were monitoring disk on there too, and then network usage. What do we want to check on the network? Well, saturation is a thing, but probably most of you, unless you're doing really high-speed back-end storage, you're probably not going to ever saturate a network link. Maybe you will. Maybe we'll pulling down your cat videos after lunch or something at work. But for the most part, network is not going to be something that you're looking at a lot of times as an engineer from like a saturation standpoint. But what are we looking for over the network? Can I reach DNS? Am I getting DNS responses? Am I able to hit my gateway and the, what I understand is our internal gateway that goes out? Am I taking a different path to get out? Like, these may be things that I need to understand on the as a systems engineer at the network level. One of the things that I used to tell you guys would happen a lot is I worked for a company that had been running systems for a long time, but was trying to get more secure. And everything internally was just a big bastion outside wall, big powerful outer wall, and everything internal was just open. Everybody could talk to everybody. And the security team was going through and they were dropping in firewalls at all these different network junctions. And we would be on and we would try to check everything. But then like a few weeks later, one of our dev teams would come to us and be like, and I had about 200 dev teams, and they would be like, hey, we lost access like 2 weeks ago to this database. And by the way, that makes troubleshooting harder when it's now later on. But they didn't realize it because they weren't using that, dev environment. And then they went back to it and things weren't working and things weren't processing and they weren't reaching across to this dev database that they had put in the wrong. Or maybe it was something that they had put a request in long ago, but that request had been lost. This was actually a thing, was our CI/CD. So our change management teams did not have all of the old requests. Like the old history was lost. It's like Gandalf going, I have no memory of this place. So we had to go back through, and this was a hassle. We pushed back on this, but at the end of the day, they were like, you guys are the systems engineers. You guys have to do it. And we had to go put requests back in that some of us still had copies of, and that made it easier. But we had to go put requests back in for servers that had been built years before to be able to get in through the firewall in either ranges or specific servers, This was a big deal with satellite. If you guys ever work with satellites, and satellite has these things called pods for your different environments, and you have like a PCI one that would be over in the PCI environment, but then there's like maybe 5 or 6 different ports that have to be open for connection, and that it's because what is it? Catello's talking. It's downloading over HTTPS, so that has to be open. There's some management ports for foremen that are running. There's a bunch of stuff going on, right? Fortunately, have never worked on an actual satellite. Z-Love, I've also never worked on an actual physical satellite that was up in space, but I have worked a lot of downstream from satellites, so data coming down from satellites and that kind of stuff. Also, I think I missed a whole bunch of them, but Poems and Problems, Flask, Journey, Rogue, I am AKTU, and Z Franca. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you guys. We're just doing Linux stuff, right? That's what we do around here. We hang out. We do a bunch of Linux stuff. I don't normally stream. Well, it was Wednesday night. I do normally stream on Wednesday night. But the wife has a book club tonight, so she will be back in a little bit, and then we'll hang out. Let me see. See when she's coming back, because I think that starts around 6:30, her book club, and it's 7 now, so probably be an hour and a half. This was, guys, by the way, I didn't make these up over here. These actually came from a real job board requirement that we found, right? And there's a whole bunch of them, but I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff, it boils down to the same stuff. Install, monitor. Again, you're probably not going to be building the monitoring solution, but it doesn't hurt to know monitoring solutions. So I have some labs that are out there that you guys can work on. We had a focus on one of our Linux systems administration course that was, one of them was about monitoring and that kind of stuff. Implement and maintain security measures to protect Linux systems from unauthorized access, malware, and other security threats. This is something a company wants. So I said if you're building new, you need to follow industry standards, right? Benchmark your things and make them better. If you're maybe CIS benchmarks or STIG standards, are you FIPS compliant? I actually need to check. Am I running FIPS on these? What is it? There's like a check. I don't think I'm FIPS enabled. Yeah, FIPS mode is disabled. Now, I could turn it on right here, but it wouldn't actually help to turn it on right here because I'm on a Rocky server. So even if I were to turn this on right now, watch, it'll error. So it'll say, we're trying to do it. I'm going to do it. Let's see what happens. But you always have to restart, which means it's not going to take it anyways. Watch. My init RAM disks don't exist on this box, so this might fail. But even then, it's like this is a local node, and it's going to go grab all that init RAM stuff again from Werewolf. So I actually have to configure, if I want to turn FIPS on, I have to configure it within Werewolf and within the container and then push it out to my nodes. We're not going to do that right now. Yeah, it can sit there and pretend to be doing stuff. Unmuted and heard satellite. I'm not muted, right? James Lynch said, cool, do you do any AX25? I don't even know what that is. No. X-Shunya, max packet size you can transmit. Well, at the maximum transmission unit, yeah, at, now, you can go with bigger packet sizes. It only affects the maximum packet size if you say do not fragment, because then it can't fragment down into the MTUs. Otherwise, you can send as big a packets as the header can handle. I don't know how big the header can handle, X-Shunya. Just so you know, like, you won't see any problems. You might see some slowdowns on your line, but you can send bigger packets than 1500 MTU of the frame. But if you set the maximum transmission unit, the do not fragment bit, then it won't. And I've shown you guys that before, so we don't have to spend a whole lot of time with that right now. But then SE Linux. Can you run SE Linux in your environment? We'll let that sit there for a bit. We'll let the potato rest for a second there. Let's go jump back to Rocky 6 real quick, right? And on Rocky 6, SE status, we are running SE Linux, right? So if I were to just run DNF install HTTPD, right? And I put that on the system. That's strange. This box has been up too long. He's tired. Let's go check one of the other boxes. We need to clean the lab environment more often than that. 18 days is a long time to be up. Install Apache on this guy. SE status will also show that SE Linux is on. What? What? Oh, James, no, I don't mess with the radio stuff. I've seen people mess with that before, though. But no, I don't. I don't mess with any of the radio stuff going up there. No, I used to just catch downstream for like intelligence agencies. But I worked in like what we called the factory at Lockheed, and then we would push that out to the actual government sites that were doing the actual payload work. So I did the setup of everything. I was actually on the mission that caught the actual stuff. So yeah. These boxes are. These poor servers have been up too long. Hold on. This one's over here doing whatever's going on. Yeah, see, look. FIPS will be enabled, but it can't set it up in the grub, so it can't set the FIPS equals 1. So it couldn't do it even if it wanted to. But, hold on. Let's get out of here real quick. Let's go clean the environment up real quick. Let's run an uptime real quick. Let's see. I'm pretty sure these nodes have been up. Yeah, 10 days, 12, 18. 17 days. 10's unreachable. Kill those all. Let's come back over here. Let's go check out 10. What's going on with 10? At the console, out of memory killer. Let's reboot him. Alright. So let that one reboot, and then if you guys have not seen the Pixie process before, I'll let you see that, where a node comes up and gets told who he is by Werewolf. So I'll let that happen real quick. And then over here, give these sleep 300. Give these 5 minutes to come up, and then we'll watch this node boot. So this node will boot. We'll wait 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes, and then we'll let an uptime run, and that'll free my hands up to play with my phone for a minute while you guys are hanging out. If you guys have questions, let me know. I'm not working too hard over here. I'm just kind of hitting system stuff. Oh, Robodom's telling you guys about the book. Yeah, we got a book. Book's the only thing that costs any money, but we have it on sale right now. Anybody else, you're welcome to just hang out in the Discord. You guys don't have to buy anything. I tell you guys that all the time. You can just hang out. In fact, a lot of times I tell you just getting your hands on this stuff will help you learn it. You just got to take your time, and nobody expects you to be an expert up front, but they expect you to understand troubleshooting, understand getting into systems and moving data around, and these are like the basic things they want you to know. Oh, Z-Love, that's awesome. Well, I mean, I think it's a good book because I wrote it, but it's about these labs. It shows you how to go through the labs and then kind of journal your thoughts out and stuff. So that's what it is. That's the value I think it adds, is it makes you think a little more about this stuff than maybe just doing a task. Because being able to do discrete tasks is good. That's something we need to know how to do as an admin. But knowing when to do the task is the best. There's this old saying about, stop me if anybody's heard this before, but there's an old saying that if you're a good chess player, you're 5 moves ahead, or if you're a good chess player, you're 10 moves ahead. Has anybody you ever heard that? No. But if you're a great chess player, you're only 1 move ahead. It's just always the right move. And that's, or if you're a master, let's say. And it's true. That's like the same thing that's true in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's like you don't have to know 1,000 moves. You just have to be beating the guy right in front of you. And that's a thing that like a lot of people don't know. Wenwolf. Wenwolf instead of werewolf. That's funny. This machine is taking its time rebooting. All right. Rocky, we're going to force the reboot. We're like Strong Bad over here. I said deleted. And then drop the main man Edgar on the virus. Anybody remember that? God, I love the old 16U. So excited. Nice. So Gremlin, you got like a little half rack like I got behind me. 19-inch 16U. Yeah, 16U is... Each U, guys, is 1 3/4 inches high. So, 16U is about a half rack. Name origin again real quick. Het-Tanis? Oh, Het-Tanis is it's an anagram. Het-Tanis. whatever. It's an anagram, so you guys can figure it out if you want. I'll tell you the if you want to know the yeah, don't let fishermen see that. Oh god. I'll have a new nickname from the Discord bot. That freaking bot. I think you guys have been in Discord lately, but we have a little bot in there that'll answer questions for you if you ask them. It's not very nice though, but it will answer stuff for you. I got to finish building out a workflow for my system because it's working. Do I have it up here? Hold on. We'll leave these guys where they're at. I don't know where I was doing this work. I do have the llama stuff up, so the llama nodes are up. And I was sending that through. And then so I gotta finish this workflow out, and then I'll be good. But anyways, this will boot. This will come up. We'll let that finish real quick. What else do we have? The Saint. That's exactly what it is. But do you remember the reference for it, Z-Love? So the name Hetanis, yeah. So it comes from where I used to joke around about how on Reddit. Oh yeah, see they're all down still. On Reddit, it's just scumbag and villainy, right? It's just a terrible place. But sometimes one person will come through and they'll just enumerate like a really good answer. And typically their answer floats up to the top, and then it'll just have all of the data points of like all the useful things for somebody. So somebody will ask about like, hey, where can I go get some ROMs for my RetroPies? And everybody will be like, oh, you're an asshole, and this and this and that. There'll be all this stuff. But then one person will have like a whole bunch of links and some other stuff. And that, I always call that person the Saint. So that's where the term comes from. By the way, look, this box has figured out that he's Rocky 10. He is Rocky 10. And he has pulled down his init RAM, his kernel image, which is his kernel, and then his init RAM FS, which will be able to boot the system, right? The kernel will run on init RAM FS until it finds and then switches over to its actual root. These systems are running tempfs, so it will build a tempfs root file system on the node in memory, so it won't actually use a disk for that. I'll show you guys that when it comes back up. All the boxes are booting the same way, so we'll give this 60 more seconds. And then that'll come up, and then we can keep watching this. This will walk through, and it'll go pull its overlay the first time. It's called its system overlay. And you'll see it run through all the scripts that are part of its system overlay. The very last one it'll do will be SE Linux. It'll turn on SE Linux. It has to relabel the container. It has to relabel its file system every time. And you say, well, why is that? It's because you can't label the container. I might be able to get away with labeling it in the container. But that being said, it went through and it ran all of its scripts here. And now it's relabeling the file system. It only takes about a minute. So hopefully it'll come up. Actually, maybe less than a minute, but we'll see here. It's kind of racing between those two systems there. Because down there, we probably got about 20 seconds left. Let's see how long this one finishes. Some of the other nodes may already be finished, but we'll see here in a second as it comes up. So let it run. By the way, I haven't really been hammering it too much, but we do have a Discord. I think Robodom might have been telling you guys about the Discord. Oh, look, yeah, so see, 3 wasn't up yet. So we encountered basically what we would consider in the computer science world a race condition. What's a race condition? Who knows what a race condition is? In computer science, it's very bad. Like if you're writing code and you're getting race conditions, it's a problem. 2 things are happening and they're racing, but one's getting there first. Well, in this case, we raced to all of our servers being up. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them beat us, but the other 14 are still down. So that is not a race condition you want to win. So we'll just let it go another 60 seconds, and then we'll see. Because this node will come up when this is done right here. So what am I seeing over here? Yeah, there's the Discord. Thanks, Robodom. Yeah, guys, the Discord's there. Like, our goal of the group that we run is it's Professional Linux Users Group. It's been 10 years, almost 11 years now that we've been running it, and the goal is to get people doing this stuff professionally. If you want to be a professional, if you want to get out of just being, a hobbyist and stuff, hobby stuff is fun. People come in all the time, tell me they do Arch Linux, and I'm like, that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're ready to stop, doing this, and this is fine. I like playing with my Raspberry Pis too, but this isn't enterprise stuff, Arch isn't enterprise stuff. I'm not trying to be mean to Arch. It's just not. It's not repeatable. It's not consistent. It's not timely. It's not the kind of things that we need the systems to be so we can learn about these other things. Doesn't the Ansible reboot command wait for the node to come back in time period before reporting success? Okay. Yeah, it does, but actually, Alpaca, I cheated. I didn't use the reboot command. I used the reboot out of the shell. So I actually... Hold on. Look. Yeah, Alpaca, you're right. But I cheated. I used shell with reboot. So I just kicked all those nodes over. So you're 100% right, though. No, yeah. In a playbook, I would have done that and I would have controlled it. But yeah, I've been cheating. I've been using Rocky a lot the last few months, really, because it's what I've been using at work. I rebuilt most of my lab environment in, I don't know, probably September, October, and then this is all lab environment for you guys. In fact, people that are in the Prolog, you have access to Rocky 1 through 10 for normal stuff, right? 1 through 10 is all your normal stuff, and then 11 and 13 and 15. Those are the troubleshooting nodes from the last week of the course being up. And you guys, we can get in there right now and troubleshoot those labs out and then just reboot those boxes. That's all you got to do. So there's a troubleshooting challenge. You got to figure out what's wrong. There's actually two versions of it. There's the version that you can challenge yourself with here, right here. That's the incident challenge, and then there's the answers. So if you just want to walk through it and see the answers, here you go. But we did this live, and people got to sit in the hot seat and see what it's like with everybody yelling over their shoulders, and get to see what it's like when you don't really know, but everybody thinks they know. So people just yelling stuff at you, and it's that's really kind of what it's like on an incident. Sometimes you don't know. So, all right, where are we at here? Nodes up. All of our nodes responded. We're good. Okay. So this one says, so this was about security. And I talked about maintaining security. So could you look on a box like this? This is back to that Socratic method. Can I look at this and tell what processes are open on my system? What processes are being listened to? What ports are open? What ports are being listened to on my system? And why are they open? What is that 9080 doing? I don't know what Promtail Linux is. The hell's a Promtail? Should that be running on my system? Is that malicious? These are things that I need to know, right? If I see all the things there and I go, oh yeah, those are all things that I expect to be there, then I'm good, right? And there's different ways you can monitor this. You can use agents. You could write your own little script that just checks and makes sure that there's things. Lamborghini, those challenges are not in the book. The book was like a standalone, all the labs that we built up in Killer Coda. So all the labs that are here in Killer Coda, those are where the hell is our Killer Coda? That's what's in the book. So let me differentiate real quick for people. If you go to our book, it's all Ansible. And it's all Linux, but it's all of our labs here. It's like the Prolog labs. So it's all the Ansible ones and all the Linux labs. There's about 48 total there that are in the book, right? I think it's all 48 of them. The Linux Systems Administration course that we did, That was completely separate. The book's been out like over a year now. This was a thing that we started in, I'll tell you exactly the day we started right here. The day we started it was, I had been talking about it for a while, and then I finally sat down and said, we will start on, and we started on 9/14, so September 14th of last year. Is that right? Yeah. There was our first example of what it was going to look like. And then we started the course, and then we had, the syllabus. So if you guys needed the syllabus and wanted to know what the 16 weeks were about, here's a worksheet with a bunch of information in it. And then we just worked through the course, and there were discussions that people had to do and talking out with other people. This stuff's all free. This is not, so the book is very technical, and it's about discrete tasks. This is about Linux systems administration and getting into the field, if that kind of makes sense. Is one good without the other? I think they're both good. You could just do the labs and get a lot of value. You could do just this course and get a lot of value, especially if you already know Linux pretty well. But the course here was not focused on being the most technical person you could be. This was focused on like being in the industry. And let me show you an example here. So let's go to, we'll just go up to, let's go up one. I have no idea what just happened there. All right, let's go to Unit 13, I guess. Let's go here. Let's go like Unit 7. I don't even remember what Unit 7 was. But let's open the worksheet for Unit 7. And what did Unit 7 say? It said, hold on to all your worksheets until we got to the end, right? Because I was getting too many emails. And then it was Unit Discussion 1. Why is software versioning so important to software security? Can you find 3 reasons from the internet, AI, or your peers? So why is software versioning so important? So we've got semantic versioning that we use, and semantic versioning is semver.org. And what are some reasons why it's so important? Well, because you are an engineer, or you want to be an engineer eventually, right? So you need to know what all your stuff is so that you can build it and so that you can troubleshoot it. There's 2 good reasons right there for understanding software versioning. But being able to see what's different in your environment, what's changed, something got updated, but that system had never been rebooted, so it had never gone to the new kernel, so that software never got tested. There's all kinds of things that can happen, right? But that's important. For security reasons, security vulnerabilities are always tied to versions or later of software code. So if we can get past that version, we're past that vulnerability. So that's an important reason. That's how all your reporting is going to come down from any third-party tool you use, any GRC team that you have internal to your company, any, you go and you start just reading the NIST database yourself. Any of that stuff is that's what it is. All right, hold on, we got a Ranger check. Oh, I should make Ranger check into a talk. Hold on, where is Ranger? Where's Ranger at? Oh, Ranger's walking around. He's probably just looking for another soft spot to lay on because he's old. Guys, he's an old dog. He has learned no new tricks lately. But he is old. He's spinning on his bed. Let's see how he lays. This is all the drama. Oh, he's going to the other bed. He's got 2 beds to choose from, guys. This bed, I laid on it when we bought it for him, and I determined if I ever got, if the wife ever put me in the doghouse, not literally, I would buy this bed and just lay on it. Because this was, one of the best, this bed, man. I honestly, I'm going to go lay on his bed later with him. No, it's an orthopedic bed. It's really nice. This was about an $80 bed that we got him. So there's some drama. So when... with Ranger, me and my son used to go and we would buy him more beds, and then the wife threw out his old bed. And we said, whoa, whoa, whoa. And she's like, he can only have 2 beds. So we said, okay. Because we were planning on making him a big throne of beds all the way up to the ceiling. Hold on. So then we started buying him blankets, and we got to about 4 blankets, and my wife said, stop it. And we're like, all right. But me and Kale were going to make blankets all the way up to the ceiling for him. Like a big old, it was going to look like one of those, you go in the tents, You're walking around out in the desert and there's a mirage, and then you see a tent and you go in and there's all the carpets on the floor. That's what it was going to be like. Oh, Ranger's walking. The boss is walking. All right, I don't know where Ranger's going, but he's off camera somewhere. He goes down the hallway and goes out. Let's see, hold on. All here. Might just be drinking water too. But I can hear, so the wife built this little thing of pavers for him because it's been hard for him to get in and out of the house because he's got a huge doggy door. Like his doggy door, most adult males could probably duck through and walk through it. It's pretty big doggy door for him. And but it's about this high off the ground on the outside, and he's getting old, and he's getting weak. So the wife built like these steps for him, but one of the pavers kind of rattles, so I can hear when he goes in and out from up here. He's out to yeah, Robedom, he does like going out in the early morning, and he's the master of all he surveys. It's actually funny. Yeah, Ranger's a good dog. So that's our Ranger check. If anybody wants to know, that's how we check on Ranger. That makes me think of some other automations we could do with our. I got a little stream bot and speaker bot working, so actually we can get questions through. I just I haven't tested some of it. I've tested. Oh, wait, where's my? Hold on. Pull up speaker bot. Hold on. Pull up this guy. Where's he at? Streamer bot. Get out of here. Start those guys up real quick. His TTS is on. Where's this other guy at? Hold on. Streamer bot's up. There's speaker bot. Actions, queues. Ask Llama. I haven't integrated him with our chat. So I don't think. Hold on, let me see. Does he get our chat? Robedom, will you send something real quick? Hold on, guys. Huh. Chat, general, platforms. Twitch bot, YouTube bot. Hold on. I don't think. Gotta get back to general and just chat. Yeah, Z-Love, thanks for coming. No platforms are currently connected. Hold on, let me go check. I want to check something real quick because I have this all set up. Well, hold on, I definitely have my platforms here. I thought I did anyways. Let me go make sure I got some stuff working here. Oh. This might send me down a rabbit hole I don't want to spend too much time in. I need to... I just don't think I have this. Oh, I think I gotta log into all these. Oh, that's annoying. VTube and what was that? VYouTube. All right. I'm done. I'll play with that later. I'll probably have to do like a little because I have some settings that can pull in, but I need to get the chat all set up. All right. Oh, so what was this next discussion? You are new to a Linux team. A ticket has come in from an application security team that has already been escalated to your manager. So this is one of those ones where you were like, oh yeah, I was going to get to that ticket whenever, but no, it's now number one because the managers already went to manager. They want software installed on one of their servers, but you cannot find any documentation, and your security team is out to lunch not responding. That happens a lot. So they want to put software on the system, but you don't know if you're allowed, right? You're just a Linux admin. It's a server that's been running. You remember from some early documentation that you read that all software in the internal repos you currently have are approved for deployment on all servers. So if you can find it to connect to it, it's safe. Well, it's safe. It's been blessed from on high, right? So you want to also verify by checking other servers that the software exists. This is an urgent ask, and your manager is hovering. Anybody know what it means when a manager's hovering? Anybody here know what a helicopter parent is? They're like, right? Your manager's hovering, and they're like, let's get this done. I really want this team to owe me a favor. And you're like, oh, yeah, okay. Good. You know, yeah, so your manager's hovering, and they need this thing done. And you're like, all right. So when I said, how can you check all the repos on your server to see which are active? How would you check another server to see if the software was installed? And if you find the server, how might you figure out when it was installed? So, if we were on the box, just some box, Rocky 15, and we said, let's just assume it was like Ansible. Is Ansible on the box? There's some Ansible on the box. Maybe I say which. For me, I just want to know, is Ansible here? Ansible is here. Ansible version. Can I get the version of it? 2.14.14, right? So that tells me some stuff about it. It tells me what version of Python it wants to use. So if they were asking for Ansible because their workflow required it, I would be able to say, well, it is on other boxes. I remember hearing that if it's on somewhere, that's okay. I can't get any answers from somebody and I'm being pressed. If you're an admin, you might have to make a call. By the way, you can always roll it back, right? I mean, that's actually one of the good things. But maybe you have to make a call. You got a ticket in. You've got an emergency change for it. It's in a dev environment. Pretty low risk, guys. There's real work being stopped for something that's not a security violation. And there's documentation and manager's approval. Yeah. I would accept that. If I could tell my manager, this is the one thing I would do. I'd say, hey, let's just make sure. Do you at least have a Teams message from that manager? Like it wasn't just a hallway thing. Let's at least get an email from. Because I like to have like an email. I like to have like a chat log of they told me to do this. It's their dev environment. It's their server, right? It's their dev server. We enforce the rules, but we don't make the rules. The rules come from the security team. We do make some rules, like I'm not going to give you effing root. I don't care. I don't care if my man, and this is a hill I'll die on. If they tell me to give somebody root, I'll be like, no. I'll do it. I'll do root in a dev environment for a set of servers, but I will not do it in prod. And if they do tell me to do that, it's a hill I'll die on. You say, really? Yep. I won't manage servers that people outside of our group are managing. And you say, well, why wouldn't you? And I'm like, that's like if you ever been out, you know, I don't know if any of you guys live in places where you can just go out and shoot in the country, but you can do that in Phoenix. You can go outside of Phoenix and shoot. And I couldn't imagine going out there and being online like this, where everybody's online and somebody's over here like this, pointed in at you. I wouldn't hang out there. I wouldn't hang out and shoot there. Even if they're like, well, but we're shooting at targets over there, same as you, I'd be like, I don't care. We're either all online or we're not doing it. That's stupid. It's the same thing. Like, I can't have a bunch of people adminning servers. It's got to be one team, you know, one type of thing. Oh, it's really scary in prod, Robodom. Yeah, people shouldn't be doing that crap. And you might be like, oh, that sounds like a hard-ass line. Okay, well, when you have to fix stuff because other people refuse to... There's a mindset difference between software engineering and DevOps engineering and site reliability engineering and systems engineering and network engineering. There are thought differences. we may have all grown up through the same college. We may have all grown up through doing computer science, but our jobs have caused us to think differently about things. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've never met a software engineer who likes to clean up his environment when he's done installing stuff and removing it and doing whatever. There's always just packages laying around everywhere, and I just come in and I'm like, I'm not trying to shit on software engineers. It's just I normally support them, but it's because I'm the Linux guy, right? And every time we've ever given a team, whatever, we just have to go wipe those servers off into the garbage can when we're done with them because there's no saving them, right? All right. Anyways, can we tell? It's a fun one if you've never seen this. When was Ansible installed? Well, somebody put on this server on Wednesday, November 8th. Now, there's a little bit more I can back out because I'm using a tool. I can do DNF history, and I can see when DNF was last run. And it looks like people have put different stuff in this environment at different times. So somewhere around says the install date was July 6th. Does that jive with what I see here? Yeah, looks like that's when it was installed. Now I'm on Rocky 15. Rocky 15 is using the container tshoot. Oh yeah, because I'm on this. So this is the container name for tshoot. So I do wwctl container list. I can see all my containers in my environment. And I could go into this container and I can change things about this container. And then if I push that back up into Werewolf and then I reboot my system, it will go and it will pull the changes into it that were built in this container, right? And I have some of these nodes set. Node list -a. Oh, because I'm in the box. False, because I want it to have an exit code of anything other than good, and then I exit and it won't rebuild my container. Node list. So here's my nodes that are on different containers for whatever reasons, right? Yeah, Lamborghini, new to Linux, new to things. Yeah, I would tell you spend time in Linux. That's the main thing I think that'll get you the confidence to do this stuff, the understanding and that kind of stuff. Like, just get your head in, start doing it. You just got to spend time with this stuff. That's all there is to it. You got to spend time in Linux to get good at Linux. If you found the software, how much you find out when it was installed? RPM-QI told us that. RPM-QA told us it was there. And then if I wanted to go check, I could check any of my other nodes to see if it was there. I also checked when it was installed. That's what I was using this right here. I could see when it was installed back on the 6th. All right. So we have, look, we have all these things we can do in environments. I don't expect everybody to learn all this stuff over time or overnight. I think you should learn this stuff over time. You should spend time with it, and you should hang out with other engineers. I tell people all the time, if our Discord's not cool enough for you, go find one that is, man. Like it's not going to hurt my feelings that much that people are like, oh, I don't want to hang out with those guys. That's fine. I don't want to hang out with database people. I like database engineers. I've known quite a few, and I like them. I don't want to be a database engineer. If you told me there was a Discord for all database engineers, I'd be like, that's cool, man. It's real cool. And they'd be like, you want the link? I'd be like, yeah, that's cool, man. That's what I tell you. Because I'm not, look, one of my buddies just went live a little bit ago on Twitch. It's actually where I think I met Robodom. I love the guy. I love watching his channel. I do not want to be a software engineer. I don't want to hang out and do leak code. I love watching other people do leak code. I don't really want to do that. I love watching people play Dead by Daylight on Twitch. I have no intention of ever playing Dead by Daylight. That game's got way too much people getting way too mad about shit, and it's like, dude, there's a guy running around with a chainsaw trying to cut your head off, and you care that he's wearing a certain color face. Like, that's silliness. Like, he's trying to murder you. Like, it's kind of weird to me, but anyways, but that's, if you guys never heard that drama, that was like one of the drama things that happened in that game. And I'm just like, man, like, how about you just I'll watch it. It's like I like. It's almost like watching a little horror movie where people are going to be scared a whole bunch and stuff. It's kind of fun, but anyways, I say go find somebody that's doing stuff that interests you. If it's software engineering, this isn't exactly the right place, but I do think Linux is adjacent to all that, so you could get into Linux and play with that stuff still. I'm not telling you not to hang out with us. I'm just telling you there are maybe other places that might be more, like Midnight Simon's channel, that I think he's on YouTube as well. So if you guys are on YouTube, hang out with him. He does leak code, right? He's out there grinding leak code. He works for one of the big five. He works for Inmang. And that was his goal, by the way. When he first started streaming, he's like, hey, I saved up. I could not work for a few months, and I'm just going to sit here and grind leak code all day, every day. And that's what he did. That's what he does on Twitch. So, yeah, Robdom, our Discord is pretty cool. We have, 3,400 people in there. We got a little bot that talks trash to you. I argue that's the coolest. Hey, Guts and Ryotex, hopefully this stuff's useful to you guys. Guts is a character's name from a very, very popular, very dark anime. Well, manga and then anime. Does anybody know where Guts is from? I don't think that's probably where that name's from, but that's a dark one, man. Guts is from a real dark anime. That's exactly right. It's Berserk. And Berserk makes you feel totally normal until you get to one scene, and then you're like, I don't know if I'm supposed to keep watching this. I don't think is this really about to be what I think? Is this about to be what I think? Oh, it is exactly what I think. And then you're like, oh gosh. Shock value, nice. Currently writing a bot that takes Twitch redeems and barfs stuff out in the appropriate Discord channel. Nice. Yeah, shock value. There's a little tool I've been messing with called what is this called? It's StreamerBot. StreamerBot here, and then SpeakerBot here. Now I got them working. Like SpeakerBot, actually, I've got it tied into my Amazon Poly, and I can do things like I can come to my actions. Where's my actions? And I can trigger. Watch it takes 6 seconds. Hold on. So what it read when you go to action queues, here's my queue action history. You can expect the variables at the end. And all I have it set right now to read is, I think the answer will be here. So I need to read lines, SpeakerBot, Steven. Yeah, it just reads the message, but the message is, I was messing with this yesterday. And the message is only what was sent in. And the message was, hold on, so over here, where is it at? Let me edit this guy real quick. Text to write writes the message from the chat. And that one takes the message from the chat. And then so when you trigger them, I need to I got all this part working, but I need it to go and actually ask my llama. So I have a bot that responds. Where the hell's that thing at? Hold on. I got a mess over here. I just got a whole bunch of crap going everywhere. Do I have that? I don't even know where I was doing that from. Oh, maybe I was doing it on the box itself. Yeah, I think I was. Hold on. This is me messing around. Yeah, it's Llama. Here it is. It's in here. So I can have this thing ask questions, right? And I can run it remotely. This is what I was working on last night when I wasn't on stream. So the problem with this is this: I don't have GPUs in the lab, so this is a CPU based one. So you're going to see it spin up as I go to ask it some question. You're going to see it spin up the CPU on one of these boxes, which is fine. I have most of the things turned off. It's got plenty of memory. It can run. We can ask it prompts. It can actually do coding and other stuff for you as well. But the prompt actually comes out of chat as an ask command. I just didn't set it up yet to be integrated with chat. That took 35 seconds, and it comes up with all this. Tells me it was a Qwen 2.5. Oh, am I on the smaller one? Yeah, 05B. So it's a smaller response. But then it gives a response, bashes an interactive command line. And I was going to make it read it to you guys. Right? And then just make it come out. But we'll play with it, and if nothing else, even if we don't read it back out through SpeakerBot, we'll drop it into a set of. There's 2 files here. This is the minimum. This is the minimum. This will be right here. Is go into hostbox cd to data stream. These 2, so llama answer. When people ask questions, it'll drop in there. That's the answer that's coming out. I need to clean up my names of files. But anyways, these will be added to llama answer, data stream write, llama answer, llama output. So we'll go here. We'll say y, I don't know, 20y, 15 lines, and then we'll say p right here, right? And then we'll say o, and the job name for this one will be like and then this one will be, so that'll be llama output, and that'll be like llama, what are those called? We'll figure out. Llama output, llama answer. Right? And then the path will be this. Data stream right. And the path here will be this one. And then because I don't remember, output and answer, right? Llama answer. So answer and output. You guys gotta stop me. Now, the name will also be... this name is arbitrary, but it's useful. So, when I say arbitrary, I mean it could be like anything you want within the rules, but useful means it's a tag still. So, we want output and answer. And then... I always hate that. Like I'm an old I'm from back in the old back before system CTL, when it was just system. Let's make sure it boots fine, right? And then one thing that we can check if that's running up through Promtail. So some of you guys have been around for my labs and stuff. Our logs here should now have, once we write something in there, right? Watch this. Pull this over here out of the way. And I'm going to go back to where I was. And I'm going to say, give it a second here. Let's refresh this, actually. Here's llama answer. What's in llama answer? Nothing failed. but there's llama answers, and here will be here. But hold on, watch this. So I'm going to echo answer. Ten-second refresh. Nope, it says the answer will be here. Oh, there it is at the top. This is the last line. This is for the stream. So it was reading through what was already there. You pipe the curl to JQ. Sure. Yeah, there's the answer stream. So now if I cat, that's what's in there, right? Oh, there wasn't a new line. That's why it read it like that. But do you guys see that, like, people could be asking questions and then that thing could be answering them and then we could be dumping it here. I wonder if it will always be in reverse order, so I may need to, because it'll come backwards up. So I may have to find out if there's a way to edit this and reverse the order. Transparent background. Wrap lines, probably wrap lines, and then probably oldest first for this one, and then apply, and then for me, it'll be literally this then. Well, put them on both of them. Okay, let's exit. Fuck it, we'll stay in this one. We'll get out of this one because this one had the llama. So now we go to that. Right, come back over here. His command is going to look a lot more like this. It's going to be, oh, interesting. I need to reset the all right, hold on. System CTL cat llama. And then ollama is run here. The exec start of serve. Now we need to probably what? Stop ollama. I don't know what's wrong with me. Okay, so I need to stop it real quick. Serve start no llama. I need to see. This is all local, but I need to see if I can cause it to serve to everybody. IP address for the llama server, that's fine. Duration that models stay loaded, that's fine. Yeah, oh, by the way, I'm going to be, with my little llama stuff, I'm going to be picking up one of these things for our Prolog lab. What's that NVIDIA device? What's that new one that they're doing? Did you guys see this? It's, they've announced it, but it's not out yet. It's, here it is right here. I mean, it'll be reasonable. Yeah, this is a brand new one. But I don't think you can buy it yet. And the really tiny one, the one that's like barely bigger than a pie, that one's cool, but there's a lot of memory constraints with that. Yeah, so some of these ones are smaller, but you can't build bigger models. I'd like us to have some actual power, and I would just run this on there as a virtual machine as well for using in our extra time. Loud origins, all right. 200. I don't know if this will. Oh, we could just set that as a variable. Okay. This will be 192.168.11 200. Now, let's start it. That does not look like it's listening outside of itself. 434 is still only listening. Oh, hold on. Let's just do that for a second. Yeah. Well, that's dumb. I'm dumb. You guys gotta remember, I don't even know how I function half the time. I don't know how I function, guys. Still failing. See, it's still not listening for anybody other than itself. So... Did I read that wrong? Come separate list of allowed origins. I mean, short of going, we're gonna have to go read their page probably. Sorry guys, I did jump off of doing just all Linux, but that's normally what I'm doing in here. I don't see any other. Like, I don't see anything else in here. Like, I was looking for, like, what the default serve. Oh, I'm a host. I mean, I could tell him his real host. But then if that's still all he's going to listen to, that doesn't really help me any. Hold on. Okay, so we could use Nginx. Well, we could do it with Nginx, of course. And then just have it... Okay, well, yeah, I mean... Yeah. I guess. I guess. Seems weird that wouldn't... -D should... -D should be our headers. -H. Alright. That's gonna fail. Dash. Where'd that go? Might have to use a tool, or I have to turn on the proxy server. See, we can just run Nginx right on Podman on that, and then just set that up. Hey, Linux developer, how's it going? Oh, nice. Yeah, FastCon. I'll try that. llama_host. FastCon. Oh, is it broken? Shit. There we go. Subtitles should be back here soon. Sorry about that, guys. Where were we at? FastCon, it didn't come through. FastCon, it didn't come through. It just says Olama host equals environment equals Olama host something, but it's all blanked out. I don't know if you can drop it in Discord. Drop it in Discord for me. Shoot, FastCon, environment equals Olama host equals something. I guess it could be asterisk colon. Let's try that. Asterisk colon. And then is that right? Hold on. I missed it. Yeah, drop it in stream if you would. Yeah, it's still not reading. Damn it. Yeah, if you just drop it in one of the channels. I don't know what's all going on here. People are all welcome. You'll notice that the bot is welcoming you to the server and he's not super polite, but it's still kind of funny. In the stream channel. Oh, geez. I should just be able to drop this. Oh, and the sysctl override conf, huh? Can't I just drop this into his service? Can I just drop that in his service? Oh, what the heck is this? Oh, geez. It's actually really funny, guys, that this is, Hold on. I don't even know how to use this tool. Hold on. I don't know. Get out of there. I don't know how to use that, guys. I literally... That's like nano. I don't know how to use that. What? Yeah. I don't know why it's not set to VI. Oh, jeez. I don't know how to do any of this here, guys. I don't use nano. Don't know how to use nano. I want to back away slowly. Yeah, the stream channel. Got it. Right here. I just need this under service. Shit, I don't even know how to add that. That get away with it? Control Shift O, something like that. Yep. I don't know. Between lines 3 and 5? Yeah, this should be a different environment file though, right? I would think this would just be a different environment, like it's set in variables, I would think, wouldn't it? The hell? Alright, let's get out of there. Yes. I don't know how to get out of here. I don't use that bullshit. System CTL. Start. Oh, llama. Still there. Wait, hold on. So if I just do why don't I just do this then? Why don't I just edit this? Grab all this, right? Control Shift Exit because I don't know what that's doing. C system, D system. Yeah, why don't I just edit this one? I think it should just, I think it would take it. Let's try it. Yep, now it's listening to everybody. All right, perfect. You guys saved me. Don't want this host header shit. And the question is, it's running, and we can go watch it spin up that box because it actually takes the whole oh, hold on. So it actually stops when it thinks that there's like special characters. So I might have to strip special characters out. No, it worked. I guess it worked with both, but it's this is where it gets kind of weird. Oh, I got to strip. I will have to strip off the ask. Yeah, I learned this when I was messing with it before. You have to strip what? Maybe better. You have to strip off the things that it thinks are going to cause this. So I'll have to do some regex and just strip out any special characters that aren't like simple things, because it won't accept. If it thinks that you're trying to break the model or make it do something, it will not work. But yeah, there you go. What is bash? Took about 20 seconds and it told me that bash was this. So now if I run that, right, and then I take this and I'm gonna actually write over it each time. I'm gonna answer, right, and I let that run, and then I come over here and I look at logs. If people are asking questions on stream, that thing will be hopefully writing stuff up. Oh no. I did something weird again. It's gonna be weird if it works sometimes, and if it doesn't, others. Like it's gonna sit, like this one's working now. But it's the same exact prompt. Then now, when that writes over there, it's gonna show up right here. Actually, I'm surprised that other one didn't too, though. Or llama answer. Promtail's running, it's got the config. It's grabbing the answer file. It should be sending any changes. That file definitely has changes in it now. I wonder, I might just have to keep appending to it. I changed it in the Etsy systemd system file. That's where I changed it. Why is my system not showing? That'll be the questions. Okay. So let me do that same thing again, but I'll do it. I'll just keep dropping it down. And I'm okay with doing it that way. Let's give it 10 seconds. It takes 10 seconds to read over there. But we might want to pipe the output of that through JQ first so that it is nice. Because watch, for anybody that's wondering, we could go here and JQ if we have it. Oh, jeez. I wonder if that's just... I might have to play with that and get that going over there. Is that one of those Flask integration map? No, I'm not using Flask on this. This is Grafana over here on the right. Grafana is a free tool. Works great. Oh man, look how old this box is. I have to rebuild a lot of stuff in my home lab. Oh, I possibly fat fingered a lot of stuff. I'm in the output dir right now though. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Hold on a second here. Yeah, it's very possible that I'm grabbing the wrong. Give it a second here, we'll check. Oh, they both look right to me. Data stream right. llama output. Llama answer goes to answer. Llama output goes to llama output. We're trying to write to llama answer. Why is the sky blue? Does anybody know why the sky is blue? Huh. The sky is blue because the presence of cloud cover as an artificial intelligence language model. I don't have access to specific weather. Physical measurements are equated to your location. Related to your location, however, you can assume that you're referring to natural phenomena. Nope, that's not right. Anybody know why the sky is blue? Linux developer, you're close. Refracting of light. Fastcon something something. Yeah, it's true. It's because God loves the infantry. That's why the sky's blue. All right. If you guys don't know that means, just don't worry about it. We want llama answer. We want to see. Because they changed it from violent. Yeah. Well, the infantry is all about speed, shock, power, and violence, that's for sure. I'm one of those few guys, so when I was in the infantry, I had an expert infantryman's badge, and then I got my combat infantryman's badge. And all my buddies, they were... when we got back from Iraq, they were all wearing their combat infantryman's badges, and they were like, why don't you wear yours? And I'm like, oh, because I only had to go to combat. That was easy. Like the expert infantry, I wore my EIB, and they all had their CIBs on, and they're like, why don't you? And I'm like, well, because here's an interesting thing. See how it's all on one line? That's probably, I think it's too much. I think it's too big of a data to push as one line. So I wonder if we do like a JQ and then we unroll at, we'll unroll at response. So it'll be, watch here. Now that we have JQ, watch, pipe it through JQ. And we only want the response. We don't care about the numbers, we don't care about all that stuff. We want the response, right? And here's the response right here. Nice and clean. So we just need to grab just that response. And I can never remember all that. So sans.org, ultimate list of cheat sheets. This is where you get your procedures from. And somebody wrote a really good little JQ one a while back. I always forget all my I know how hierarchy works in Ansible, but I always have to reference JQ. I don't use it enough to keep it in my head. I know it's whatever the answer's name dot response is, but let's go look at it. What's this? I think he's got a good little. Come on, what's going on here? You guys are making this way too difficult. Can I just look at it real quick? JQ.answers notation is used. JQ. We just want, so in whatever, it would be, so we should just be able to get away with response. Is that right? Dot response or just response? Let's try this. Give it a shot. Now, if that works, then I always have to look at. Boom, there we go. Okay, so that is all that we care about, is that we get a response like that, and then we drop that response into llama answer. Yep. And now if that works, now we've built a full pipeline for that part. What log's that? And will be readable because it was one line of just too much to come through. I don't know what the Loki limit is, but apparently we were blowing over the top of whatever Loki was going to allow to work. And then, what? That's funny. Because now it's like, now I'll go ahead and do it, buddy. And it's like, wait a minute. There are so many things here that I want fixed. I want this oldest first. And apply. And then, oh, I reloaded the page, didn't I? Alright. So it's funny, it finally worked, but then it didn't do the other thing that we wanted. So, okay. Curl that. Or, hold on. What's happening is maybe that's going really slow. Because that's one of the other lines from earlier. So, we gotta do the oldest trick in the book. Echo, nothing, clobber, llama answer. So llama answer is empty. We've written 0 into it. And now, just give me the good one that's not busted. All right. Yeah, sometimes we gotta bust stuff to get stuff to work. All right, that one happened way faster than we're used to. But that looks good. And then tells us why the sky is blue. We do want this to word wrap, don't we? So, edit, wrap lines. Said prettify JSON. I probably could have set the prettify JSON. Pretty. I don't know how to say that word. Fixed this bad boy for. You know what? Okay. Yeah, look, here's what these ones were looking like, but that was way too much info. That was way too much. And we would rather have just this one. And then really what I could do is I could combine them. Let's think how we want to view this. Wait, who didn't? Fedora project is going to use Forgajo. Yeah, Linux developer. That sounds interesting. I haven't played with Fedora in a long time. Yeah. All right. Guys, I am messing around on here. I wonder when the wife's getting home. Wait, she messaged me? Oh. Okay. Yeah, thanks for the follows, guys. Did everybody get their Ranger checks? Did you guys all get to see Ranger? I think there were a few Ranger checks. Ranger is not on his, but where is Ranger? He's active. He's more active at night nowadays, but I mean it's cold outside right now. Well, cold in Phoenix is, 40s, 40s and 50s at night for us. But I think it was like 30 something the other day. All right, but anyways, do you guys see what I was messing with? Did you guys see that? This is. So I don't have in my home lab. I don't have any GPUs. So these were my CPUs spiking on a box with 32 cores running those queries. So hold on. So let's go. Let's ask it something bigger. Let's ask it something like. I want. Hold on. You know what? I'm okay with it being in reverse. Let's go back here. Hold on. Let's go with newest first. That's fine. We can live with that. Screw it. We'll do that. And then let's ask it something like this. What do we want to ask it? Not why is the sky blue? What is a human made out of? Let's see. What is it? What does it think a human's made out of? And specifically, how long does that take to come through to be our our answer over here. Probably, I mean, I'm going to take my hands off the keyboard. No, nothing up my sleeve. Probably about, from the time this finishes, which we don't know when this is going to finish. It's in what we call a synchronous write mode. So it's waiting until it gets something back. So 10 seconds from that, because that'll write up to llama. And it says, yeah, the human is made out of the concept that human beings are composed of various parts and their body functions. Some key components are something. So, what I do have set up right now is in here. That's llama answer, so llama output. I need to fix this. What the hell should the name of llama output be? It should be God, let's just fuck it. We're gonna leave the name because we already changed the other stuff. Yeah, water and bananas and hatred and caffeine if you were infantry. That's mainly what it is. Wife's coming home right now. She's got some food for me. It's a little late, but I've been streaming this whole time. Yeah, spit. Yeah, dip. So I don't know if any of you guys were in the military, but in the military, you are not allowed to. When you're in basic training, you're not allowed to have caffeine, and you're not allowed to have dip and any of those kind of things. You have to kind of tough it out for however many weeks you're there. And we were on. There was these 2 field problems at the end of my what we called OSUT training, which was one station unit training in the Army. It's OSUT, one station unit training. But that's how the infantry worked, right? Anyways, where I'm going with that is the. We were out there, I want to say the first one was about like 5 days, and then the second one was closer to like 13 or 14 days, right, of like field problem. You go out and you do some stuff. And the field problems are just like exercises and stuff, and then you do a long hike back in, and that's basically the end of your training for that before you go into whatever your specialized infantry field was back then. Mine was, I was mechanized. I was going to a mechanized unit. But anyways, so when we were out there, the drill sergeant one of our drill sergeants stood in front of our formation. It was Drill Sergeant Jackson, and he said, I'm going to tell you guys, it was like I want to say it was like 9 days in, and drill sergeants were stuck out there with us, right? They couldn't go back in either. And he goes, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, there's like this one little bit of amnesty period. I'm going to turn around, and if there's like a couple of cans of dip sitting here behind me, I'm never going to ask where they came from. So he put us at ease. When you're at ease, you can kind of go to more slack. Your right foot has to stay in position. But anyways, a couple guys went up and dropped some cans for him because people had contraband, but he needed dip that bad that so it was just kind of funny. I'm sure that's probably like a common story, but I just remember that happening, and like nobody cared. Like, I mean, it was just one of those things where like we were all done, and obviously if you had made that far, you weren't too much of a turd, but. Yeah, I think this might be kind of fun. We'll play with this, and then as people ask questions in stream, or if people ask questions about things, I'll get this set up and I'll get this finished for tomorrow for like a real run through. And if you guys ask questions during the stream, it'll pop up over here. I think there'll be a 1 minute cooldown on it because I want to give the system some time because it takes on average. I was averaging like 30 to 40 seconds per run yesterday, so you guys can ask it. Man, this thing can take. This actually this is the reason I picked this, the Quen 2.5, is this is actually designed. Can you write me a for loop in Python? Right. This is actually a coding. This is actually a coding thing. So if you had a question and you needed something very specific, this can write you out a for loop in Python, right? And then we'll see it pop up over there in the next few seconds or whatever. And it'll be, well, I'm hoping the formatting comes out right. JSON should be able to handle that. It looks like that because of the way that unrolled. That still worked. It just the new line characters were a little messed up looking. Define list of numbers. Use a for loop to loop over the numbers. Print the current numbers. For loop iterates over each. So, hold on. Is this not wrapping well? Hold on. Numbers equal 1, 2, 3, 5. Use the loop to iterate for number in numbers. Yeah, that would work. And then print number. Yeah, it's just it doesn't have the indents very well because you can't see the indents correctly. So I mean, this wouldn't be probably where you'd go getting code examples, but we could run this stuff and get all of our outputs here. I don't know. I think it's kind of a fun thing. I can set this up again to talk to us. It's just, I don't know. Like, sure, here's an example for. I don't know that would be great to listen to. You know, if like as a text to speech thing, I don't know if there would be much value add. I want to do stuff that's more value add. I would love people to be able to just ask questions, get an answer while I'm doing other stuff, and then I could come back to it and go, oh, that was a question. Yeah, I agree with the bot, or oh, the bot's crazy, right? I think that would be kind of a fun little thing to work on. So, oh, and then by the way, and then the other fun thing I thought is I can integrate this with. You guys know we have a Discord, right? And then, well, obviously we have Discord, but then we have down here. By the way, thanks for those for that help, guys. FastCon and Linux Dev, you guys were very helpful. Sometimes I just need to bounce things off because sometimes I'm doing like 30 things. And hold on, I was going to show you guys. We have a sandbox, right? And you could bounce. I can have this write each question and answer that people get here, and I think that would be kind of a fun little integration to do too. So. You wish to keep them forever? Yeah, Linux. Fair enough. I think you can have them. I don't even know. I think because like Twitch has these little messages, like these little emotes, and then you can like customize them. And I think that's just one that I customized. So it just looks like that. And I think I tried to pick colors that look good because I'm colorblind. But okay, guys, I got to get out of here. I hear the wife coming. So. I don't have my little outro stream here, but if this is interesting to you guys, like get into Linux, right? Do this stuff. I think you guys can. I think you guys can do it. And this will be my outro stream, even though it's my intro stream. Let's go find somebody to raid over on the Twitch side, and on the YouTube side. I appreciate you guys that stuck with me for a little bit. Yeah, let's go raid our good buddy over here, Midnight Simon. If you guys don't follow him, you should. I appreciate you guys coming by, and I will see some of you later on this week.